John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The much-anticipated WNBA debut of number 1 overall pick Caitlin Clark set for tonight. She and the Indiana Fever visit the Connecticut Sun, 7:30 Eastern, ESPN 2. Tonight will likely more be about assists than scoring when it comes to Clark. ESPN basketball analyst Monica McNutt.
I said about 10, 12 points, but I'm looking for a handful of assists because she's playing with a former number 1 pick and reigning, I should say, Rookie of the Year in Aaliyah Boston. Alyssa Smith is also a number 2 pick, incredibly athletic. Erica Wheeler is a veteran in the league. They've got pieces to make plays. They've got some power in the paint.
Bruins captain Brad Marchand, upper body injury, won't play in a must-win Game 5 tonight against the Panthers in the second-round Stanley Cup playoff series, 7 Eastern ESPN, followed by Oilers Canucks. Edmonton down 2-1 with a goalie change starting Calvin Pickard. Timberwolves center Rudy Gobert fined $75,000 by the NBA for his money sign gesture directed at officials in Game 4 of that second-round playoff series. Minnesota and Denver, Game 5 tonight, 10 Eastern ESPN Radio. The home team 0-4 so far in the series.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming on Wednesday. I'll tell you why I'm concerned about Luka, Kyrie, and the Mavs. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN 2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us, AFR. Powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Billy Embody pinch hitting for Shea Dixon in 15 minutes. Dominic McKinley next hour. Todd Walker, a little LSU baseball in hour 3. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Well, we got some massive breaking news as we start the show today. Courtesy of Jeff Duncan, our good buddy. Not good buddies with Michael Thomas, apparently, but our good buddy. Jeff Duncan reporting the Saints will open up the preseason in Glendale against the Arizona Cardinals. Get ready for it. You know what that means, Muse?
What does that mean?
Means we get to watch very likely Marshawn Lattimore lock up with Marvin Harrison Jr. It's going down for real, Flo Rida. Oh. And then not only that, Muse, we got more news. Oh. After they play the Cardinals, the Saints will go west to California and have joint practices with the 49ers and play their second preseason game in Santa Clara at Levi Stadium. That is, unless, of course, Jeff Duncan is wrong. But I don't think he is. I think he's
probably got it.
Yeah, I think he's got it. That's it. Hey, feel free to use the chung chungs whenever you want. Cardinals? Oh, God. Maybe I should have been a little more specific. Or just not telling you to use them whenever you want. That's probably what I should have done, actually. I said it. I said it. I did. I said it. So Cardinals, Niners, how we feel about that? Paul, with the fleur-de-lis on the back glass of your low-riding Chevy truck. How do you feel about that? Cardinals, Niners?
I'm excited.
It's the most excited Paul's ever been about anything on this show, except when I say weed jokes about Muse, and then he laughs.
He loves those.
You do love those. I know you do love those. I don't care who they play in the preseason at all. I do enjoy camp. I like to watch the preseason. I'm a degenerate. Roger Goodell said at the Super Bowl that he could envision a time where there is no preseason. Or actually, that was on the McAfee show before the draft, where he could envision a time where there is no preseason. And we go to 20 NFL games, which is what we're headed toward. We all know what the preseason is. It's nothing but a money grab. It's a way to get a bunch of guys that aren't going to make the team out on the field. But I love that because I like the roster battles for roster spots 51, 52, 53. I understand that makes me a degenerate. Most people don't care. But the Saints will head out and play their first two preseason games on the road. Arizona, joint practices with the Niners. And this is something the Saints do commonly. They're into the joint practices. Remember, the Saints are taking training camp away from New Orleans as they're renovating the facility there on airline. So they'll be out in California for training camp. So actually, it's pretty close proximity there. I'd presume then they'll come home for the third preseason game and then just stay to get ready for the start of the regular season. Look, we've seen the Saints have joint practices with the Chargers, the Packers, as Jeff Duncan notes, Texans, Patriots, Jags over the years. Look, you always end up having fights when you have preseason joint practices, guys leaning on each other, guys trying to win jobs, and they go battle it out anyway. That's how the Saints will start preseason in August. Mark it down. Of greater consequence, most likely for New Orleans, is that they signed a defensive lineman, Kendall Vickers, and announcing a couple of roster moves. I don't know that this is the one that's necessarily going to generate a whole bunch of buzz or going to get you really excited. Quite honestly, I feel like Kendall Vickers is probably a long shot to make the team. You might remember Kendall Vickers, who played his collegiate ball at Tennessee. He was a volunteer. And he's played parts of 4 NFL seasons. Now, he's bounced around a little bit because he was on the practice squad for the Titans back in 2018. But his most productive years were actually with the Raiders in 2020, 21, and 22. So that means he was a teammate of Derek Carr's. And this was a pretty common, recurring storyline a year ago when the Saints continued to sign free agents from the Raiders. And the point I made a year ago, and I'll continue to hold true to this, because this is what the Saints have shown, that they are committed to Derek Carr being their franchise. Well, if you're committed to Derek Carr being your franchise quarterback, then you need to do things that are going to make Derek Carr comfortable and surround him with people that are going to make him comfortable. So a year ago, you signed Foster Moreau. A year ago, you signed Brian Edwards, again from the Raiders. Jonathan Abram in the secondary from the Raiders. You pretty consistently signed players that were going to make Derek Carr comfortable. And if that's the case, if you're committing to Derek Carr being your franchise quarterback, then yes, you should add coaches that are going to be conducive to Derek Carr's success. You should absolutely add players, position players, offensive and defensive, locker room guys that Derek Carr wants. And I'm not saying you let him have carte blanche over your roster, but yeah, if there's a guy that you want to add and Derek Carr is good with you adding him or has a say in it, then yes. Because while I may not be on board with Derek Carr ever being a championship quarterback, the bottom line is you're building around him. You've made that financial commitment. So damn it, give him the tools he needs to be successful and surround him with a roster that feels, that he feels like will make him comfortable. Specifically with Vickers, as I mentioned, he's played in 4 NFL seasons. He's been in the NFL since 2018, but he's actually seen the field in 4 seasons. In 2020, it was his most productive year, played in 15 games with the Raiders, 21, 2 games with the Raiders, and then 22, 8 games with the Raiders. Last year, he was with the Bills and played in 2 games with 2 tackles. So this is a guy whose most productive season came in the COVID year. So 3 seasons have come and gone since then, and he's played in a total of 12 games over those 3 seasons. So I don't know that this is a guy that you're going to bank on to make this team. But I'd also point out to you that the free agent market is slim pickings. If you go look at available free agents right now, Spotrac lists 18 available veteran free agents at the defensive tackle spot. Fletcher Cox would be the most notable among them, but Fletcher Cox is retired. Brian Moan is on there from Seattle. Rakeem Nunez-Roach is on there as well from the Giants. You understand the point? Like, I don't think there's a lot of really notable players here. Hassan Ridgeway is certainly someone who's recognizable. His previous annual average value was $3.2 million, so some of this is affordable. Lawrence Guy, Al Woods is on there. David Battle, Linval Joseph, who's 35 years old, almost 36 years old now. Josh Tupou, Nick Williams. You understand my point? Chris Wormley, Ross Blacklock, James Lynch, Albert Huggins, Rennell Wren, Curtis Brooks, Levi Bell, Josh Penasini. I mean, those are the names we're talking about. It's not like you have a robust market to choose from because you weren't super active in the first market because last year you added Colin Saunders and Nathan Shepard. You drafted Brian Brzee. Those are going to be your 3 interior guys that rotate. You're probably looking for one more to fill the Malcolm Roach spot. Well, you've added Vickers. You've still got Jack Heflin there. And you have UDFAs and Christian Boyd and Kyler Baugh. If the Saints add another defensive tackle to compete there for that 4th spot, it's probably going to be someone as you get into training camp and you get to a round of cuts and there might be a veteran free agent somewhere that doesn't make another team. That could be the 4th guy in your rotation. Or maybe Vickers wins that job. Or maybe a UDFA like Christian Boyd, who's a big 320-pound interior run stuffer from Northern Iowa, who's teammates with Trevor Penning. Maybe that's a guy who ultimately wins a job. We'll play it out and see how it all goes, but ultimately, I don't know that this is a signing that's going to generate a whole lot of interest. The Saints have much bigger needs, but if that's the guy that you're signing right now to try to add depth on the defensive line, it kind of speaks to what the market looks like right now. But in any event, a little bit of news here as it pertains to the Saints as we push off from the dock. Okay. We'll knock out our first break of the show. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana. Y'all, I am pretty fired up about this. So we did confirm it. I was on a call yesterday with our friends over at LeBears, along with our friends at Mockler, and we are going to do it, man. So Dustin Poirier is headlining UFC 302 up in New Jersey, and we are going to have a UFC watch party, a VIP watch party at the Sportsbook at LeBears. So really looking forward to this. And it's going to be a pretty cool opportunity where we're going to have 8 winners. You're going to get food for the night. You're going to get Bud Light comped beer for the night. You're going to get designated tables. Our 8 winners plus, and they're plus 2. So it'll be 24 people in total, the 8 winners plus 2 guests. And it's going to be awesome, man. We're going to watch UFC 302. It'll start at 7 o'clock when the ESPN 2 prelims start all the way through the main card. So we're looking forward to it. I'll tell you in the coming days how you can enter to win, and we'll pick our winners a few days before the fight. So I'll give you more info coming up here soon, but excited about that. We're officially going to launch that UFC 302 watch party June 1 at the Sportsbook at LeBears with our friends at Mockler Beverage and LeBears. So we're looking forward to that, and we'll tell you much more as we get closer. Okay. Quick break, and we'll tell you how you can win, of course, how you can enter to win. Okay, quick break. We'll come back. Billy Embody from On 3 will be with us, pinch hitting for Shea Dixon today. Don't you move.
AFR.
Brought to you by our friends at River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time, or you don't pay a dime. You know where to find them. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. As I always tell you, I love sharing 5-star Google reviews. And remember, at River City's 1 Hour Air, they've got more than double the amount of 5-star Google reviews. And you love whenever other people call upon River City's 1 Hour Air and are able to give that third-party validation. Here's one that came in from Michelle Brondum, who said, excellent, thorough, knowledgeable, very kind and respectful. If I could give Bobby 10 stars, I would. He is just an all-around good guy. I love that he can teach and work at the same time. A true leader and an asset to this company. Thank you for all your hard work, Bobby. Another 5-star Google review. I can tell you Bobby's been to my house as well. He's exceptional. but that's the experience I've had with every technician from River City's 1 Hour Air that's come to my house. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. 752-0001.
When things heat up, you don't just want a cold one. You want the coldest one. The cold lagered, cold filtered, cold packaged one. Mountain Cold Refreshment. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, y'all, rolling along here on a fun Tuesday. Of course, we're always powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. You can visit sunequip.com, sunequip.com, get more info. And they are raffling off a really awesome John Deere Gator with LSU logos all over it as well. Sunshine, of course, a proud partner of LSU Athletics. So you can go to the website or any of their social media to learn more about how you can do that and raise money for great charity as well. All right, usually Shay Dixon is with us here on Tuesdays. Shay, as I understand, is on a plane going to Vegas to watch Pearl Jam. I am massively jealous. And but Billy Embody, good enough to pinch hit. How are you, dude?
Doing well. Not as good as our friend Shay, though.
I know, man. Are you a PJ fan?
I'm not the biggest, but I absolutely respect.
Get out.
I respect their. I don't listen to them religiously, but I know them very well.
I know. I'm really, really jealous. We're playing the MGM Grand Garden Arena. I've seen UFC there. I've never seen Pearl Jam there or a concert there, but I would love to go. But anyway, Shady living his best life. How about this LSU staff, Billy? Let's delve into it, man. The #1 topic that everybody continues to discuss is the search for a defensive tackle. Can we sort of clear the deck and kind of just discuss like what options seem to be still on the table for LSU right now?
Yeah, there are really a handful of options at most at the moment, it appears, but they are kicking the tires on a couple of guys, and one in particular is one that just wrapped up an official visit on Tuesday, and that is JVR Suggs out of Grand Valley State, so a very familiar program for LSU head coach Brian Kelly and his sons, and just a program that they kind of got the tip on this guy that, hey, he's worth looking at. He is somebody who's picked up a lot of interest as of late with Michigan, USC, Wisconsin, Arkansas, and plenty of others trying to make him a priority here late before the summer begins. And he checked out, and LSU brought him in for an official visit, and it just wrapped up on Tuesday. He's about to fly out, actually, and head back home to make his decision. But LSU sits in a good spot here. He's somebody that really was productive this season, 21 tackles, 7 of which went for loss, 3 sacks, 5 pass breakups. So that was in 2022. And then 7.5 tackles for loss, 5 sacks this past season. And he's not the biggest guy in the world. I mean, 6 foot 280, but that's kind of what at least made him intriguing for Blake Baker, Bo Davis. They've kind of been able to develop some of these undersized defensive tackles and get them to produce. And Blake Baker did it at Missouri. Bo Davis did it with some players at Texas. Byron Murphy kind of comes to mind there. Not your prototypical, 6'4", 6'5" defensive tackle there, but that is the main target right now. And then LSU is really looking at players that can help them just be better overall. Like, if they can't figure out a way to find a true defensive tackle that can help them and they feel like they can improve their defense with, well, they're going to go look at other positions like the edge spot, the corner spot, the safety spot, and see if they can bring in players that can positively impact the defense and kind of maybe help hide the deficiencies at the defensive tackle spot. But yeah, it's been quite the journey to get to this point. And, as much as Gio Paez has been, looked at as somewhat of a toss-in as far as this transfer portal class, the Wisconsin defensive tackle transfer is looking like somebody that's going to have to be relied upon a good bit this year.
Billy, at this point, and this kind of been my contention, it seemed like LSU was looking for a starter. At this point, they're just searching for a body, like anybody. Does this team really need just a body at that position?
I think so. And the reason why is those big guys in the middle, they need all the help they can get in terms of staying fresh so that maybe they can give you a little bit more at 100% with the snaps that they get. If you are sitting there and relying upon Jacoby and Guillory and Gio Paez and Preston Hickey and some of the other guys, hoping Dominic McKinley, who pumped for you to have him on the show, obviously, is going to step up and really produce as a true freshman. That's a lot of pressure on those guys. And the big guys in the SEC, they need players to help them stay fresh. And so that's why JVR Suggs makes a lot of sense. Is he isn't somebody that jumps out at you like any of the ones that they were pursuing earlier in the spring portal window in terms of, they're from a named program or they've produced or started or what have you. He's able to at least come in, be an older player, help for 2 years. He's going to be a culture fit because of all the research that they've been able to gather from Brian Kelly and his family side of things. And so you've got to just kind of hope that the quantity that you bring in can help the guys improve the quality of their play by being able to rotate. And maybe you say, okay, we're going to do it by committee versus we're bringing in one of these big ticket guys to play 70 snaps a game, and we're going to have to get the best out of them every single snap, which is hard for these big guys to do.
Billy Embody's with us on Twitter at Billy Embody. Is there another, if it's, let's say they miss on JVR Suggs or don't take him or whatever, or is there any other name out there that we should really be paying attention to right now?
Yeah, we've seen Brandon Lane, a Stephen F. Austin transfer, kind of been connected to LSU, but we haven't heard anything on our end in terms of much beyond that. We haven't heard too much traction there. So it doesn't seem like they they're going to make a move there. That's the one name that we're really watching, though, in terms of if they decide to turn up the heat. But as of now, it doesn't seem like they will. One player we are keeping an eye on is Tyler Barron. He's not a true defensive tackle, but he can help LSU in terms of improving their defensive line, and he's a bigger body. He's currently committed he's at Louisville right now, transferring from that program. And, Ole Miss actually signed him to an SEC agreement, which is kind of it's a binding piece of paper that keeps SEC schools from not tampering with each other's committed transfers. Like if you can sign him, but he has other programs like Miami and USC that have been trying to get him, but Ole Miss has at least signed him. So they're going to have to decide if they want to let him out if he ultimately doesn't want to go to play for the Rebels. But so that one's an interesting one, but he's 6'5", 260, has 100-plus tackles on his career, 27 tackles for loss, 13.5 sacks, 4 pass breakups. So he's a good player. He could help LSU without a doubt. But there is that kind of red tape, so to speak, when it comes to if LSU can really go in there. Ole Miss would have to release him from that piece of paper, and then he can open things up. But so never dull moment in terms of the transfer portal. But that is another name to know. At least on the defensive line, he would help overall.
Got a couple more. It's interesting that so much of the focus has been at defensive tackle, and Brian Kelly just flatly said that was the position they were looking for. But we learned today that Wesley Walker is a guy that LSU has interest in. They're trying to bring him in for a visit. He's a defensive back. He's kind of at a winding path, Georgia Tech to Tennessee to Louisville, now back in the portal. What can you tell us about Walker and LSU's level of interest?
Yeah, LSU just wants to, again, kind of going back to make the defense overall better. They do have some scholarships to play with. And Walker has 184 tackles and 11 tackles for loss in 45 career games. So he's played a lot. He's visited Michigan recently. He is scheduled to visit LSU. We're watching to see if that visit still happens, but he is no doubt an experienced player that could help make this defense better as a whole, while some of these younger safeties continue to develop and just create more competition. And Blake Baker really does a nice job of using his safeties in kind of some different roles, so maybe that helps him in that regard. Anytime you can bring in a player this experienced, I think you should kick the tires on it. And so they have the scholarships to do so, and maybe that leads to LSU bringing him in. But he did just visit Michigan, and he's, at least as of now, going to LSU. And so we'll be keeping an eye on if that happens and if they end up finding a good fit there.
Billy Embody's with us. Hey, before you go, I mean, so much of the conversation obviously is centered around the portal and these portal targets. We've sort of taken our eye off the ball a little bit on the class of 25. We're heading toward camp season. Are we expecting any movement, action, commitments that could pop here in May or into June?
Yeah, in-state, James Simon is deciding. It does seem like the Calvary Baptist running back is going to end up going out of state, with LSU having 2 running back commits. But that's the only kind of commitment that I think we're keeping an eye on right now as far as a decision upcoming. But the first weekend of June is going to be pretty awesome for LSU. I mean, they're going to have double-digit visitors on campus for official visits. I'm counting right now. 4 5-stars already slated to visit LSU that weekend. So that is going to be a massive official visit weekend for Brian Kelly and his staff to kick off the summer. They're right there for the number 1 class, battling Ohio State for that spot. They're number 2, LSU's number 2 right now. And when it comes to the summer, it's monumental in terms of setting themselves up to potentially land that number 1 overall class. They have Bryce Underwood, they have DeCorian Moore, Harlem Berry as their 5-stars that they've got on board. And, you can't let, I think, a multi-month mismanagement of kind of the defensive tackle position blind you when it comes to where LSU is trending on the high school recruiting front which is very much a sign that they're at least in decent hands when it comes to NIL as well. I mean, they have the number one overall prospect in the country committed, and he's a quarterback. So they've got to be doing something right on that front to have him on board. But, I just think the staff was faced with a tough deck of cards when it came to all the changes on the defensive side, all the personnel staff that was changed this offseason. Austin Thomas was just brought in. Preston Tiffany was brought in as the new DPP. So there's a lot of changes that have just happened around LSU, and unfortunately it hasn't allowed them to, for whatever reason, grab a defensive tackle. What they've still been able to do is assemble a really, really good class that sits number 2 in the country in the class of 2025, and I expect them to add some really nice pieces this summer to that group.
He is Billy Embody on 3 the Bengal Tiger. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for the time.
Anytime, Matt. Thanks for having me.
I'm in. Be well. It's After Further Review, brought to you by Pure Restoration, pure-restoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor. This is a revolutionary technology. It's safe, both for people and for the environment as well. It is a patented, non-toxic dry fog. If you're interested in learning more, go to the website. You can hit the services tab right there at the top. It'll tell you more, explain the process that they use, their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. So much info that you can get at the website, pure-restoration.com. If you have mold, if you have odor, think you might have mold in your wall, or you just want to keep your family, your employees, your customers safe in a commercial building, it is hassle-free mold remediation. They come in, they spray. As soon as the fog dissipates, they're out of there. You're back in free and clear. You're not cutting sheetrock or anything like that, but they do have full-service demo and build back if you need that. Let's say after a house fire or something like that. Pure Restoration. Pure-restoration.com, or just message me and say, Scone, what's the mold thing you always talk about? That's because it's what a lot of you do. It's Pure Restoration. Okay. It's AFR. Wilson Alexander. Speaking of NIL, Wilson's got a piece up at The Advocate today. We'll talk to Wilson in about 30 minutes from right now, top of hour 2, about LSU, their NIL efforts, et cetera. All that's coming up. Dominic McKinley, 5-star number 1 player in Louisiana, who'll be joining LSU here at the end of this month here on campus. Dom will be with us here in about 45 minutes from right now, early in hour number 2, so we're looking forward to that. We'll talk a little LSU baseball at T-Dub in hour 3. Todd Walker will be here. So got a lot to get to. I do want to give you some thoughts on a bit later in the show on Wesley Walker, the Tennessee defensive back transfer that LSU's trying to get to visit. I understand you have the opportunity to add a good player. You take a look at doing it. I don't know. It feels like right now the target is adding for the sake of adding. But we'll delve a little deeper into it. You want to jump aboard, you always can. Email us, tweet us, text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Okay, well, now I got a quick break. We'll go around the SEC. And we know the LSU SEC basketball schedule for next year. We'll get to that. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Action Industries, actionindinc.com. For Action Industries since 1982, 42 years servicing the petrochemical and refinery markets in the greater Baton Rouge area and really across Louisiana. My goodness, I love telling you about our friends at Action Industries because the more I've gotten to know my friends over at Action Industries and learn about their business, it's just a great Louisiana success story. You know, one of the things about Action Industries, look, there are these super contractors that do these mega projects with thousands and thousands of employees. And the bottom line is, you know, those are great and needed, but there are times where your 100-person job, you may not feel like you're a priority. With Action Industries, you're absolutely at the top of their priority list. Learn more, get to know our friends over at Action Industries, actionindinc.com, Action Industries Incorporated. They're a proud partner of LSU Athletics. They're local. They've been locally owned and operated. They're awesome people. It's Action Industries. Check them out online, Action Industries.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is
These fields in the hot summer sun. Over by the gate, Lordy, here she comes with a basket full of chicken and a big cold jug of sweet tea.
After further review powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Get the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge app powered by Bayou Ford and tap the mic icon to send us your thoughts in audio form. Your message could be played on air during Off the Bench, The Hunt Palmer Show, and after further review. Speak up, tell us your location, and be heard. Find our app in the Apple or Google Play Store for direct links. Visit 1045ESPN.com.
Keep playing it, Muse. I might just start to like this song.
You love this song. Stop lying like that. You love this song.
I like that it gives me an opportunity to talk about Sunshine.
That it does.
Awesome, people. I love that Rooney went and made this the door chime at Sunshine.
That was so good.
It was so good. Really is
that
good.
Was so good.
Need a tractor? Gator zero-turn mower? They're the best. Sunshine. Your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. SunEquip.com. Love being partnered with them. Great people over there. LSU, the SEC has announced the basketball opponents for this coming year. Of course, it'll be Matt McMahon's third year in Baton Rouge. The other sort of notable part of this is it's the first year that Texas and Oklahoma will come in the league. So it'll be a 16-team league. And the way that the schedule is formatted is every team will play every other team in the league at least once. So that'll be 15 of your 18 games. And then you'll have 3 other games, 2 against permanent opponents, and 1 team you'll play a second time that rotates. So we now know LSU's home and away opponents for this coming year. And as we know, of course, already that Arkansas and Texas A&M are LSU's permanents, and the rotating this year is Ole Miss. So the home games for LSU, Arkansas. Oh, you can go full screen with the play. Arkansas, Auburn, Florida, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Texas A&M, and Vandy. And then your away games will be Bama, Arkansas, Georgia, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Missouri, Oklahoma, and A&M. So notably, Texas comes to Baton Rouge. LSU goes to Oklahoma. You'll have home and away with Arkansas, home and away with Texas A&M, and then the Ole Miss game is in Baton Rouge this year as well. You do go to Kentucky, which is one that's notable that everybody's always going to pay attention to. Look, the SEC had 10 teams last year get postseason bids, and 8 in the NCAA tournament, which was a tie for the best mark ever set back in 2018. So the league's gotten stronger. The coaching's gotten better in the league. The talent infusion's been better. It'll be really interesting to see. Remember, as I mentioned, Arkansas, I don't mean to be flippant about that, but John Calipari is coaching Arkansas now, so you're going to get a home and away against John Calipari his first year there at Arkansas. And obviously with Mark Pope, the new coach at Kentucky, you'll go to Rupp Arena, a place where historically LSU just hasn't had a lot of success, not because it's a super tough place to play, just in large part that Kentucky over the years had better teams than LSU. But we now know what the slate will look like from that. We'll find out the dates, times, all that stuff at a later time, but we do know now the opponents, home and away, that LSU will play here in year 3 of the Matt McMahon era. First year that Texas and Oklahoma are in the conference. Okay, y'all, we'll go around the SEC in just a quick second. Love telling you about Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, with more than 30 offices across 11 different states. You're never far from a Michelli office. 6, actually, as a matter of fact. 6 Michelli offices here in Louisiana alone. Always encourage you to go to the website, find out all the different industries that they service, tell you all the time about their calibration, the many different types of calibration that they offer, from electronic calibration, mass, pressure, scale, temperature, calibration, torque, humidity. They do it all. You want to request a quote, you want to ship your equipment to them. Very easy to follow instructions right there at the homepage. ISO 17025 accreditation is available. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference.
Texas A&M!
Well, the Aggies, we learned, we're going to host Notre Dame in the season opener this year. But College Game Day will be there on site. It'll be the first time since 2018 that Game Day will visit Kyle Field. Of course, it'll be the debut of the Mike Elko era against the Irish, which were, of course, the place where he was the defensive coordinator before he left to become the head coach at Duke. Game will be at 6:30 p.m. at Kyle Field on ABC.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Former USC center Kajani Wright has committed to Vanderbilt. Played in 57 games during his time in Los Angeles. Averaged a career 3.9 points, 2.6 rebounds for the Trojans. Now moving to Vanderbilt. 6'9", 235-pounder. Prepped in the Los Angeles area where he's a 4-star prospect, the number 52 overall prospect in the country in the 2022 cycle. But he's heading to Nashville to finish his career at Vandy.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
And Mississippi State pitcher Nate Dome set to start against North Alabama in a return from injury. So it's Tuesday tonight. Midweek matchup against North Alabama at Dudy Noble. Will be first action since April 7th to start against Georgia. That outing lasted only 12 pitches before he left the game due to discomfort. Hadn't pitched since that arm injury. As a 1.48 ERA, was Mississippi State's top starter before the injury. In his past 3 non-conference starts, went 6 innings, never allowed more than 2 runs. So big get there for State late in the season. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here on this Tuesday edition of AFR. Wilson Alexander is going to be here in 17 minutes from right now. We'll talk some NIL, as Wilson has a piece up at The Advocate right now, kind of exploring LSU's current state in the NIL landscape. Real quick, speaking of baseball, we had the note there from Mississippi State. Jay Johnson on his coach's show last night was kind of talking with Chris Blair about the importance of this weekend, as we've all talked about. And, it's a time where there's no midweek game, there's no school, it's all baseball, but they understand what's on the line this weekend with Ole Miss coming in for a 3-game set.
We want to give ourselves a chance. I think, if you look at it, we have to work to win on Thursday, but if you won 3 games, that's 36 wins. 36 wins in the best conference in college baseball. We're one of only 3 teams in the country that have 23 wins outside of league play. There's a lot of teams that are going to be in the NCAA tournament. We have a very good record against teams that are going to be in the NCAA tournament. So, as tough as it's been, as disappointed as we all are to be 10-17 in league, there's still a little bit in front of us here and focusing on what we can control, which is preparing well the next 2 days to play well against a team that also played well this weekend.
All of those things that Jay Johnson just mentioned are true and valid, but you also have history working against you. Again, there's never been a team at 12-18 in the regular season in the SEC to make the field, the regional field. So you have to go sweep Ole Miss. You have to sweep Ole Miss or win the SEC tournament. I mean, those are your 2 options to get into regional play, and I don't think either of those are likely. Could it happen? Yeah, it's baseball. I mean, we saw Missouri sweep Florida earlier this year. Yes, it's baseball. It can happen. I don't see that it's a likely scenario to unfold. The one thing I know I mentioned before, and I'll say it again, is the head of the NCAA selection committee is J.R. Teagues. And J.R. Teagues' son is on LSU staff. So you at least have a sympathetic figure in that room potentially lobbying on your behalf if LSU finds themselves very squarely on the bubble and maybe needing a champion in that room. So I'm not saying that does it, that pushes you over the top or anything like that, but I will tell you, a couple of years ago, that final spot came down to Ole Miss and NC State. And it was pretty much understood that Mike Bianco was going to be fired if Ole Miss didn't make the tournament. And you had a lot of coaches and other sympathetic baseball figures who liked Mike Bianco who were like, well, if he's going to go down, we're at least going to give him a shot to do it. And they put him in the field over NC State. Probably didn't deserve to be. And they went on and won the national championship. So all you got to do is get in, and you never know what can happen. I mean, that's the truth with baseball. I'm not saying it's common or even likely or probable, but it's plausible. It's something that has happened before. So Tigers need their shot, but the surest way to do it is go sweep Ole Miss this weekend, which is I just don't know that's really possible when you're looking at an LSU team that's 1-8 in Game 3s in league so far. We'll see. 3 more to go for the Tigers. Okay, we'll knock out a quick break here. When we come back, we'll wrap up hour number 1. Just told you that Texas A&M hosting Notre Dame will be on College Game Day. ABC, College Game Day will be in College Station for the first time since 2018. ESPN, in a presentation to advertisers, released a lot of their Week 0 and Week 1 games on ESPN and ABC. So we'll tell you some of that rundown when we come back. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. Rouse's with 70 locations from Lake Charles to Orange Beach, Alabama. I love their commitment to locally sourced items, locally sourced seafood, locally sourced products. And I always encourage you, get to the website, get to their social media. They're so good about posting when they have cool deals. Like, saw this one. They got a fresh wild caught whole American red snapper. They'll fillet it for you for free if you want. It says it right there. Caught off of Dauphin Island by Craig Prescott on the Midnight Rider. Like, they tell you the name of the captain and the boat that it was caught on, so there's no misgivings. Like, this is a local product. I love that about Rouse's when you go there. Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's, this feels like home.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered.
And one more teeny-weeny ride before I take her home. She thinks my tractor's sexy.
After further review powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Wilson Alexander in about 10 minutes. We'll talk some NIL. Dominic McKinley, LSU 5-star defensive tackle signee. He'll be here in about 25 minutes from right now. We'll look forward to that. As we mentioned last segment, so College Game Day will spend week one at Kyle Field, Texas A&M against Notre Dame. Some ESPN execs were presenting to a group of advertisers in New York on Tuesday. And as part of that presentation, they kind of unveiled the television schedule, gave an early glimpse. And this matters for how that's all put together is these national TV advertisers, the buyers, they're buying guaranteed impressions and views. So if you're going to buy, say, the SEC on ABC, which is going to be weird for all of us to get used to saying, they're buying the season with a guarantee of so many views throughout the course of the year. And I think as we've learned sometimes, I think maybe one year there was I think it was this past year with the Super Bowl when it went to overtime. Like there's already ads that are bought for overtime just in case or late in the fourth quarter. You know, the account executives are on the phone. Hey, are you good to go here? So a lot of it's already done well in advance, which is why this was shown to the advertisers, kind of get them excited to want to buy. So this was the little appetizer. So remember, Florida State and Georgia Tech are going to play in Dublin this year. So Saturday, August 24th, in week 0, Florida State and Georgia Tech are going to Ireland to play, and that game's going to be on ABC at noon Eastern, 11 Central time. So that's going to be a hell of an appetizer to sort of whet your appetite for the college football season. So week 0, Saturday, August 24th, circle it, Florida State, Georgia Tech, noon Eastern, 11 Central in Dublin. And then week 1, as we know, is going to be Saturday, August 31st. LSU is going to play on Sunday, September the 1st. But ABC is going to have a triple header. And it'll be the debut also of the SEC on ABC in that 2:30 slot. So at 11 a.m. Central, the 11 a.m. game on ABC is going to be Georgia against Clemson in the Aflac kickoff game, formerly the Chick-fil-A kickoff game. It's now Aflac. But the Aflac kickoff game in Atlanta. The 2:30 game, again, that'll be the debut of the SEC on ABC, is Miami at Florida. So that intra-state rivalry there with the Hurricanes visiting Ben O. Griffin Stadium. Miami at Florida will be the 2:30 game, and then the night game, as we mentioned, will be Notre Dame at Texas A&M. The night game there, part of the triple header on ABC. We knew this now, but it's official. Like, we knew LSU was playing USC on Sunday, but we now know that it will be in prime time again. So 6:30 Central Time. So if you're going out to Las Vegas, it'll be 4:30 Pacific, 4:30 there Las Vegas time with LSU and USC, and then just the binge of that that Labor Day weekend. The Monday night game is Boston College at Florida State. So Florida State with a couple of real marquee opportunities early in the season, playing in Dublin against Georgia Tech, and then at home on on Labor Day, Monday, September the 2nd, against Boston College. They open up with a couple of ACC games there as well. So full slate. You got to love that opening weekend, man. Week one, when you got football Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I mean, it's 5 straight days. The NFL doesn't kick off until the next Thursday. So a ton of NFL and college football to binge on there in that opening weekend. So we know what some of the networks will be anyway. All right, it's after further review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. Tell you every single day, if you're looking to buy name brand tires at wholesale prices, go to Shaw Bills. They're going to sell you the best tires on the road, the cheapest price possible. Matter of fact, I was having lunch with a buddy today. Was helping his aunt who had a flat tire this morning. Went over to her house, changed the tire, got it over to Shaw Bills because they bought the tires at Shaw Bills, and Shaw Bills will repair your tires for free for the life of the tires if you buy them at Shaw Bills. Another reason to do business with our friends over at Shaw Bills, where they'll always treat you like family. ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com, Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. All right, y'all, it's after further review. Of course, LSU here over the last week or so, the NIL conversation has just been absolutely on fire after Brian Kelly's comments about Dominic McKinley, who he didn't name the player, but we know that's what he was talking about. Wilson Alexander did a big expose about LSU's NIL. We'll talk about it next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl siding. They do it all, and they do it better than anyone. When we talk about Relief Windows, yes, it's windows, doors, siding, indoor shutters as well. But I also say experience, quality, and service. Let me tell you about the service. How about the 3D imaging that I've been telling you about of late? I mean, who else does this? You go sit down with one of their helpful executives over there at the Relief Windows showroom, and they'll sit down, they'll pull up a 3D mock of your home, and whatever you want to look at, whatever custom windows you're looking for, whatever door, hardy plank vinyl siding, you want to change the color, they can do all of that on a 3D model, so you can see what it would look like instead of just flipping through a book or looking at a panel. They go above and beyond. They always have. That's what sets Relief Windows apart. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Call them at 288-8138 or go to ReliefWindows.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Oshner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Oshner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Caitlin Clark WNBA era is officially here. About a month after being drafted first overall, Clark will make her WNBA debut tonight. She and the Indiana Fever at the Connecticut Sun, 7:30 Eastern, ESPN2. And Clark will have an instant impact, believes ESPN NBA analyst Tim Legler.
Her playmaking immediately is going to make her team better. It's going to translate to the next level. And that ultimately, I think, guarantees her success at a very high level. She sees things and reads and anticipates reactions of defense inherently. It's incredible at one of the highest levels I've ever seen.
Tim Legler on First Take. Bruins without injured captain Brad Marchand for a must-win Game 5 second-round Stanley Cup playoff series against the Panthers tonight, 7 Eastern, ESPN. Timberwolves center Rudy Gobert fined $75,000 by the NBA for his money gesture sign directed at the officials during Game 4 of the second-round series. Minnesota at Denver, Game 5 tonight, 10 Eastern, ESPN. That series is tied up at 2 games apiece, and the home team has lost every game of that series so far.
As humans, we like having options. One option you might like is speaking with a real person when you call about your credit card. With 24/7 live U.S.-based customer service from Discover, everyone can talk to a real person anytime, day or night. Limitations apply. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Sneezed. I caught the paw.
Bless you. Bless you.
Hour 2 off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Dominic McKinley here in about 15 minutes from right now. Todd Walker next hour. Last week, Brian Kelly kind of set the internet afire with his comments about NIL and whether or not LSU is going to buy players. Well, Wilson Alexander did what a good reporter would do, and that was dive deep into LSU's collective and the money and the NIL approach and all that sort of stuff. He's got a feature up right now over at The Advocate if you want to read it. But Wilson's good enough to join us right now. Perfect. How are you, dude?
I'm doing well. How are you guys this afternoon?
Doing awesome. Every time, I always find it interesting, when you start to write a feature story, you probably go in with some sort of preconception, and then throughout the process of doing interviews and gathering information, I think it either proves or disproves or alters that preconception. I'm curious what your thoughts were when you started working on this piece and what might have been confirmed or disconfirmed.
I had some, level of knowledge as to what LSU's collective financial situation was, and LSU football's approach to sort of spending money on the roster and how it allocates funds in order to build a roster. Because I've covered the team for the last few years, so in this case, you're right. Sometimes you do go in with, at the very least, just a reason for being interested, a curiosity of some kind, and you wonder why something is the way that it is. And there's always, the last few years, been, I think, quite a bit of debate around LSU's NIL situation. And you've done, some good, really good job, sort of laying it out for people, what's true and what's not. But it still felt like there was a lot of disconnect between fact and reality. And maybe, especially after last week, with Kelly's comments, and so many people seemingly taking those and running with them in a direction, especially just a little bit that was we don't buy players. It's LSU, look, everybody, LSU spends money on players. Everybody on the team is making money. And so what I guess I learned, so I already had some idea of all of that, but I guess what I learned in this was sort of really reaffirmed how they have improved over the past year to year and a half in a lot of ways. And they've widened and strengthened that donor base to become much more competitive, but that they still need to do a lot better, much better job of sort of crowd funding and sort of that grassroots nature and reaching those people. They are kind of well behind in that regard. And also operationally, they might need to continue to sort of fine tune this thing, and that it's going to be fascinating to see, once it's allowed to move in-house, what LSU does in particular. I think those conversations are still ongoing. But also, I guess the other sort of takeaway for me was just that for this staff at this current moment anyway, guiding through Brian Kelly's philosophy, just NIL isn't the end all be all. And obviously, they don't diminish its importance, but I thought it was interesting talking to him at one point a couple months ago about this, just how it is not the guiding principle for them in building a roster.
Do you, this is what I'm just going to ask you flat out an opinion, because I've been asked that question a lot about Brian Kelly's approach. And my thing is, I don't know if that's a sustainable model. And I don't think any of us do, because we don't have a large enough sample yet of the NIL era to know. But what's your opinion, Wilson, based on what how LSU's approaching it and how other schools are approaching NIL? Is Brian Kelly's approach a sustainable way to compete for and win championships?
Well, I think this upcoming season and in 2025 as well is probably going to reveal that to us. After that, who knows exactly what the model is going to look like with revenue sharing on the horizon. Anyway, this could all be a very different kind of conversation. But we're going to find out here pretty soon if it is sustainable and if it can work, especially because of what we saw happen at defensive tackle. That was a very sort of public and clear, example of them sticking to their philosophy and things not working out in their direction. And so we're going to find out whether or not I think it can work. We've seen examples. I think there's other teams in the SEC. Alabama under Nick Saban was not known for spending copious amounts on NIL. He spoke a lot, kind of like Kelly does, about development and retention. The difference is, of course, that he'd had a long time to build up that roster before NIL was ever a factor. And then they also, they were still competitive under NIL. Georgia, similarly, I think has not been one of the top teams in terms of spending on NIL, but Kirby Smart has done a really good job of building up that roster over the last few years, and he was able to do that pre-NIL. But also players who, and Alabama in particular, come there just because they wanted to play for Saban. They wanted to develop and get to the league. And I think LSU is trying to kind of follow that blueprint of, really focus on bringing in the high school talent, developing that, and then something I think that was emphasized by the folks I talked to for the story was then retain. That's going to be the big key. And I think to all this approach is, can they use the NIL money to retain those players and keep the roster together? Players are going to leave. That's the nature of the beast these days. But that's why whether or not it will work is if they're able to retain the top high school players they get, like in this 2025 class coming up. LSU is clearly doing something right with NIL to have a class that could be number one in the country. But once they get onto the roster 2-3 years from now, if they're still on the roster and LSU has all these guys like Bryce Underwood, then you know that this approach will probably be working at least at some level.
I mean, look at the last 2 years. I mean, you had a 5-star in Walker Howard, a 5-star in Lance Hurd, who were both here for a year and left. So that's not to say that's going to be what's common, but you see both sides of it. So it's a really good point. Wilson Alexander is with us. I wanted to address two things specifically. So Gordon McKernan sat in our studio and mentioned that LSU's roster a year ago, they spent $4 million on that roster. What I had been told this year is they were looking to push closer to 6 or 7. You report that they had budgeted $8 million for this year's roster. How, Wilson, as best you could tell, have they filled that gap from where they were just a year ago to now seemingly doubling their NIL budget?
They've been able to, certainly improve their donor base at a level at which, like, their top donors are giving maybe a little bit more. They're also getting from more people in the probably 10,000 to a million range, which is obviously extremely wide. But there's people actually giving, there's more people giving a little bit more substantial amount of money. The exact number of people, I don't know. Okay. But I was told that LSU's collective basically, by tradition, basically now has close to, but not quite yet, 1,000 members. And it's getting kind of close to that direction. That's kind of how, because over a year ago, they maybe had a couple hundred members. And they've been able to, certainly I think Taft has helped with that, from what I understand, being able to just sort of back by traditions in some way and encourage people to go over there and donate. And so kind of give it some legitimacy. Whereas over the past couple of years or so, there was probably some confusion because they didn't do a great job of marketing, or getting their message out there as to what this was and sort of, breaking down some of those conceptions of NIL that people have that maybe make it scary. So they've been able to do that as well. But as I might have mentioned earlier, the thing that they haven't gotten to is that average fan, and they're going to have to be able to do that if they want to make this a little bit more sustainable. For people who are close to the collective, that's the thing that's frightening, is there's some big money donors that have, ponied up some funds here, but if something were to happen in their lives that is uncontrollable and they could no longer just afford to, give money to this, then all of a sudden, a major source of revenue is gone. So to strengthen it and make it more sustainable, they're going to have to be able to get to those people who can just give $25, $50 a month. But for, I think, a variety of reasons, they haven't been able to do that. And that's the next step for them to actually becoming maybe one of the top collectives. Because at this point, they're not. They've gotten a lot better, but they're still not at that upper echelon. Maybe they never will be because you don't have the money in a Texas and some of those major, extremely lucrative donors and a wide pool of them. But they could at least get to a point where they have more than they have at this point. So
it brings just a couple more things. And Wilson Alexander is our guest from The Advocate. Has a really good feature piece up right now at The Advocate on LSU's current NIL situation, their approach to building the roster with NIL. So you did reference reaching out to and engaging the wider fan base, right? The ones that aren't going to, the fans that aren't going to be able to give $10,000 to $100,000, $1 million, as we referenced. And you alluded to a new sort of approach or campaign coming. What do we know about that?
Well, I was told that it's expected to launch as soon as it's expected to launch tomorrow. Actually, that this is something that LSU's been working on. It's gone through kind of a few different iterations, but they're going to be rolling out something that is encouraging fans to donate to Bayou Traditions, and that there were 2 anonymous donors who agreed to price match up to $2 million. And so, if LSU can get to that, all of a sudden you could have an extra $4 million in cash in the collective, and that's a lot of capital to work with. And that's, the collective funds teams across campus, not just football, although this article focuses on football. That's helpful for baseball, men's basketball, women's basketball, everything. And so that's kind of what we know right now. So I'll be really interested to see if that does in fact launch tomorrow as expected, or if there's some other kind of unexpected hang up. But, if that initiative is successful, then it could, bring in a whole bunch of new membership and maybe, make this thing a little bit better. That's kind of the extent of what we know at the moment.
And what about structure as well? You mentioned potentially bringing the collective in-house. I'll be fascinated to see if that happens, what that does to change the structure of everybody's collective. Anything you can tell us? Best guess? What do you know?
Best guess is that TAF would be able to have certainly more involvement. I don't know if it would be under TAF, or if it would be somebody else running it or anything like that, but that could help, because that's already where a lot of people know to go when they want to make donations. Overall, if they're able to bring it in-house and have everything clicking, and not too many cooks in the kitchen necessarily, which we know sometimes people can run into, I think maybe in particular around here, then you could have
my guy sliding in a little. Well, Jay's learned the Louisiana culture well. All right.
Well, that can sometimes be the reality and work to your detriment. So if you can have this thing streamlined and focused and working properly, then you have a situation where if it's working in-house, then everything can be more streamlined, and donations can be just a little bit more clarity for people. You break down some of that confusion about where do I go to for Bayou Traditions and all that stuff. Bayou Traditions might still have a role of some kind in all of this, even if it's in-house. Again, that part's just kind of unclear. The law, the NCAA has made this permissible, especially effective August 1st. But even then, LSU doesn't have this all sorted out at this point, because the law hasn't even gone into effect yet. It has to pass the Louisiana legislature first. I think that would be expected to happen. It's not a controversial bill or anything, and it's really bringing them up into match what will be allowed by the NCAA. But once that happens, then LSU can begin to further move forward into just what all of that looks like. I think we're still a ways off from knowing really what that arrangement and setup would be.
He's Wilson Alexander. You'll get him on Twitter at WHAlexander_, as we all like to say, at Whalesander_. Or at least maybe I just like to say. All right, Wilson, good work, man. Thanks as always for the time.
Thanks for having me, Matt. You have a great rest of your day.
You do the same. It's After Further Review. Dominic McKinley joins us next here on AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
AFR.
Man, if you are a business owner and you are tired of being caught up in the hiring rat race, especially since COVID, that's what I hear pretty consistently. COVID changed everything. Obviously, people were out of work for a long time. Some people maybe didn't want to go back to work. It was hard to find people that are reliable, people that show up on time. You need Glow Resources. Glow Resources does an amazing job in the pre-hiring process, through that interview process, of knowing what questions to ask, how to vet candidates, and to make sure that life events that could be coming up are accounted for, so you don't get left without having necessary employees and workers to do the jobs you need. And it doesn't matter, from skilled blue-collar workers to C-level management, the white-collar division, everything. Glow Resources does it all. GLO, glowresources.com. If you haven't hired 1,000 people in a year, you should probably lean on Glow, because they do that every year. GLO, glowresources.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
LSU flipped 4 players from the Texas A&M recruiting class. Needless to say, the biggest this season is the guy that was the #1 player in the state of Louisiana at arguably LSU's biggest position of need. When they got Dominic McKinley out of Acadiana to flip to the Tigers, it was a massive get then. It appears even bigger now. And Dom has joined up the G team with our buddy Gordon McKernan. We're very pleased to have Dominic McKinley on the show for a couple minutes here. Dom, it's a pleasure, man. How are you?
I'm good.
Hey, man, I'm curious, since you weren't here in the spring for spring football, what'd you do, man? You doing like 3-cone drills in the backyard? How'd you stay in shape and in football shape?
I'm actually training with my with somebody I know at the Impact Room.
So give me a set. Like, did the coaches, did Coach Flint, or did they give you like a workout regimen to follow during spring?
They sent me they have sent me one, but I've been with my coach that's trying to get me right before I go off to the summer.
Got it. I mean, I was looking at your On3 profile, and they got you listed at 6'5", 280. I would imagine that was probably before your senior year of high school. Give me the measurements, man. Now, how you feeling? How you looking? What you weighing right now?
I feel good, but my weight right now is pretty hefty. Like a solid 315 now.
Wait, so were you 280 going into your senior year? Is that accurate, or was that a long time ago?
It was at like 270, then it went up to 280.
Okay. So was the weight gain? I gotta imagine, Dom, like if you're gonna go play interior line in the SEC, you gotta be pushing 3 bills, right? So was the weight gain like intentional? Were you trying to push over 300 pounds?
I was not. It just kind of happened, to be honest with you.
So what's going to be the ideal, you get into camp, look, man, you start putting the pads on, you go working out in June outside in Baton Rouge, man, that weight's going to drop quickly. But what's an ideal playing weight for you your freshman year?
I want to honestly play around like 300.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. Certainly doable, man. Do you also feel like, I guess the reason you weren't here for spring, was it just a school thing? Like you weren't able to graduate early, so you weren't able to come to spring? Or was your plan always to finish out your senior year there at Acadiana?
It was. I was just late on some things. I didn't know that I could honestly like graduate. Like I know I could graduate as a junior, but I didn't know I could graduate in like January my senior year.
Got it. So do you feel like missing spring ball, like does that set you back at all? Just give me a sense of what the conversations like with you and the coaches with you having not been here for spring.
I feel like I'm probably missing like team chemistry. It's going to be harder for me to learn newer plays and getting the gist of it while others already have.
Oh man, 6'5", 300 pounds. I think physically you're going to quit yourself just nicely. Dom McKinley's with us here, number one player in the state of Louisiana, newly signed LSU defensive lineman. He'll be here for the summer. So do you get here in June in Baton Rouge?
Oh, no, on the 25th.
On May 25th?
Yes, sir.
Man, it's right around the bend. Of course, Dom's also part of the G team with Gordon McKernan, injury attorneys. Hey, how did that come about with doing the deal with Gordon?
Honestly, I don't remember. I do, but okay. So I was just sitting at home, and they texted me, and all just went from there.
Very cool.
So
you, I'm guessing you probably saw a lot of the other guys, other LSU athletes, and other teams who've all joined up on the G team. Have you had a chance yet to meet Gordon?
I have not in person, no.
Yeah, you're going to love it when you do, man. He's an awesome guy. Obviously giving great NIL opportunities to a lot of student athletes. One person I know you've met is Bo Davis. When you were being recruited, he was still at Texas, and he was obviously heavily recruiting you to Texas. What was your relationship like with Bo Davis during the recruiting process?
It was pretty good. We talked most of the time. He was real cool through it. He let me do what I needed to do and encouraged me to be a better person and etc.
Yeah. What have you spoken to? I'm sure you have since he took the LSU job.
Yes, sir. I have.
Yeah. What's kind of his message? What sort of things do you talk about for your freshman year when you talk to Bo Davis?
About type of plays we will be running, the schemes, and my what type of number I will be wearing. Cause
okay, do we have that verdict yet? What number are you wearing?
It might be 96, but I'm not for sure yet.
Do you get to pick?
I do, I think, but it's whatever, really.
Well, you don't care what number you wear?
I mean, not necessarily, because I feel like it doesn't really matter about the number. It's about the player.
What do you think about a big man wearing a single digit?
I mean, it's all right, but it's kind of odd to see a big guy in a little number.
Fair enough. A couple more minutes here with Dominic McKinley. Dom, of course, the number one player in the state of Louisiana, from Acadiana, defensive lineman at a position where LSU obviously needs a lot. You know, man, that's been a big topic of conversation here is maybe trying to add another interior defensive lineman through the portal. From what you know about that position group right now, how do you feel the talent and the depth is right now at defensive tackle?
I think it's at a good point right now, but there is more improvements that can be made in the long run, because it's a new coach, and yeah.
Have you thought about year one goals, like how much you'd like to play, what you'd like your impact to be there in your freshman year?
So one of my goals are being a starter, and I'm really looking forward to that and working hard for it. And another one is it just in general, or is it about
whatever you of course.
And probably maintain a 3.0 GPA.
That's awesome, man. I'm sure people are going to be probably even more excited to hear that one too, man. That focusing on school as well as your duties on the field as well. What do you feel like you're going to need to work on in fall camp from your senior year to reaching that goal of being a starter as a freshman at LSU?
Probably be honest with you, I don't know how to explain it. I guess how high I get when I first get off the ball, and probably my pass rushing moves.
Like leverage, staying like low pad sort of thing?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hey, one more thing for you, man. You're part of this class. I mentioned, Cohen Eccles and Gabe Relaford and Weston Davis. I mean, all of you, the four of you at one point have been committed to A&M. Now you're all part of LSU. Like, how close are you with those guys? And, whenever that process was unfolding, were you all talking about the decision to go to LSU, maybe try to do that together?
Oh, yeah, we were talking about it, but we were close. We talk about certain things that during the recruiting process.
And last thing for you, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask about your head coach, Brian Kelly. Just, get to know him a little bit, what your thoughts are on him so far and the little time that you've got to know him throughout the recruiting process.
He's honestly great. He's honest. He's energized. He's just a great coach in general.
He is LSU defensive lineman Dominic McKinley. Y'all follow him on Twitter, Instagram, all the social medias there as well. Be on campus in Baton Rouge coming up on May the 25th, and a lot of people are excited about it. Of course, part of the G team. We're thrilled to be part of the G team as well. They're partnered with Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Dom is one you'll see sporting the purple and gold G as well. Dom, it's a pleasure, man. Thanks for taking a couple of minutes today. Good luck this freshman season, man. We'll catch up with you when you get in Baton Rouge.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. Every home listed by every company, all in one place. You know where to find them, agent225.com. And make sure you're following Darren James on all the social media as well. I can tell you all the time, Darren uses his social media as an opportunity to give you good information about the market, about when you're listing a home, how you stage a home. Right now, he's got sort of a myth versus fact about being prospective buyers. Like a myth, when you find the perfect home, there's plenty of time for pre-approval. Actually not. He wants you to move quickly in this process, or your dream home could go quickly. So have your pre-approval done before you start shopping for a home. It's that type of stuff. Darren and his team go above and beyond. Listen, there's a reason why Darren James is on the Wall Street Journal's list of the top 1% of realtors in America. That is objective fact. That's not my opinion. You want to sell your home, you need the best. You need Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD.
While we're tilling up the land, she's even kind of crazy about my farmer's tan. She's the only one who really understands what gets me. She thinks my
After further review powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Live After 5 is back this spring. Clock out and rock out with us Fridays from April 12th through May 24th in downtown Baton Rouge for the free concert series, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Join us for another season filled with incredible music, delicious food, talented artists, and a lively second line parade. This Friday, come out to see the Bucktown All-Stars for Live After 5.
You ain't at Bucktown, you ain't at the real thing, baby. Rip to Buddy D. Muse, by the way, got text into the show. Remember, you can always text us in the 225-396-4400. Don't let that song go. 396-4400, 396-4400. Richie Burt. Hey, Matt.
What's up, Richie?
Do you know Richie?
Nah.
Is he a friend?
Never met him in my life, actually. I was just being polite.
Do you have a Dolphin fan? Do you know him?
Okay, continue. What?
Call you Tom. That's Ace Ventura. Ace Ventura. No, you didn't get that?
I laughed.
Okay.
I laughed.
Hey, Matt, why doesn't Muso play John Deere Green by Joe Diffie? Personal preference, or does he not know there's a song dedicated to your sponsor? Yeah, Muse, why don't you play John Deere Green by Joe Diffie?
Well.
Muse?
Well, Richie, first of all, it's a great song. Joe Diffie has a lot of great songs. Very well aware of that song.
I've never heard of him.
Very well aware of Joe Diffie. Rip to Joe Diffie, as a matter of fact. This song is by request that we play, Kenny Chesney. It is. This is by request every time by Matt. That's how we landed on this.
Not true.
That's factual. We can go back and check the tape.
Lying.
I'm not lying.
No, you play this all the time.
Yeah. It's your favorite. You love it.
I never tell you what bumps to play ever. Paul's sitting in this room. Paul, do I ever tell Muse what bumps to play coming out of break?
No, you do not.
Ever.
Paul, come on now.
I'm sorry. I have sat in this chair and literally said the words, I don't care if you play fart noises, because nobody listens to or doesn't listen to a show based on the bump music.
Okay, that part's true. But this is your song. You love this song. You do. You were just singing it during the break.
It does. Listen, there's a lot of songs that are earworms that get stuck in your brain. Well, we were singing David Cohn's song last week. Remember?
Yeah, that's a good hook.
Great hook. I think country music is cringe, but I do love John Deere, and more importantly than John Deere, I love my people over at Sunshine. Awesome people. Bunky and below, you want a John Deere? You want that green tractor? You want that zero-turn mower? You want that gator? The only place you're getting is Sunshine. They invited me to their company crawfish bowl on Monday. It was Monday at noon. Yesterday at noon.
Oh. I think you could have made it.
It was in Deville.
Oh, nope, never mind.
That's.
Yep.
I'm not chancing that. Like, I've made this mistake once before. Hashtag not really a mistake, but you can thank you for the use. So,
okay.
Our buddy Troy LaBeouf offered. Take a breath, son, and use words. Oh my God, what was that?
Reel it back in. Here we go.
What was that?
It happens.
My brain just stopped working for a second. I just went into sleep mode.
They call that a brain fart.
Woo! Troy LaBeouf invited me to speak to either the Lions or Kiwanis Club. Maybe it was Rotary, a civic group in Donaldsonville. Great, no worries. Our physical studio is in downtown Baton Rouge. And if you're not familiar, to get to Donaldsonville, you take I-10, you take the Donaldsonville exit, you drive about 10 minutes, you go over the Sunshine Bridge, you drive another 10 more or 15 minutes after that to get to this meeting. All in all, it's almost an hour door to door. lunch meeting, you are one overturned 18-wheeler or distracted driver fender bender on I-10, which is or construction, which is every day in Baton Rouge ever, away from really chancing missing the start of the show. So yeah, I really wish I could have gone to the Sunshine Crawfish Boil yesterday, but it started like at noon. There was just no way, man. Like, I can't get to something that starts at noon in Donaldsonville and get all the way back here. Stay for the event, and they get all the way back here for 3. So have to get back out there another time.
Did you make it the day you went and spoke to that group?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, by the hardest.
Yeah, but you got there.
Because, and then what happens is you never want to be the guy. Oh, I'm supposed to be talking about Marshawn Lattimore trade scenarios here, but yeah, whatever. We've done that a million times. Anyway, you never want to be the guy at an event that just like as soon as it ends, you just sneak out.
Peace out.
Side,
yeah.
You know, like I'm gone.
Oh, an Irish goodbye.
Yes, you never want to just leave.
Yeah.
And honestly, I love talking to people. It's always very flattering. I say this, and I mean it sincerely, when people come up and say hello and they say they listen to the show, watch. I went to the mall last week. I went to go buy bath bombs for Erica for Mother's Day at Lush. She loves. I've gone back to the mall since the snake got loose. Remember I said I was never going back in?
Dude, forgot about that.
My phobia of the mall and the blue store, and especially because what's cured is Drew loves to go. We go to the mall every Sunday because he wants to go ride the elevators in the mall. So he's very routine oriented, my little boy. And so I take him, put him in a wagon, I push him around the mall, for an hour. So he knows where every elevator in the mall is. Try to walk past an elevator and sneak one past Drew Moscona. Oh, that ain't happened. Oh. I mean, he just starts like, are you an orangutan? What was that? Are you kidding me? Just pointing over like, you missed one. So I went to the mall last week, and I got the bath bombs. I'm walking to the car, and a guy who was walking toward the mall stops me. He goes, "Oh man," and very, man, I listen to the show every day. Love the show. He's talking to me, and I'm like, and so I think he was just planning on saying hi and walking. Well, I mean, I was talking to you. How do you listen? You like Saints, LSU? So we're talking, and then I kind of realized that he's holding his cell phone like this, right? Like, so he's holding his cell phone face up, kind of like chest high, and it hit me. I go, wait, I'm sorry, are you on the phone? He goes, oh yeah, I'm talking to my wife. And I said, hey, bro, go finish that. She goes, oh, no, I told her I had to talk to you for a second. So, I mean, we talked for probably 5 minutes.
That is so
He's
good.
just got his wife on hold right here on the phone. Shout out. I don't know the gentleman's name, but
so good.
Shout out to him. Yeah. His wife, on Mother's Day, I guess, whatever day that was, last week, he's just got his wife sitting on hold while he talks to me about the Saints and Derek Carr. Maybe we were talking about BI or something. I don't even remember, but it was that was awesome. I love that. Back to the point. This has been a segment I did not anticipate to go in this way. But the point is, I love having those conversations, and I'm always flattered when people come and talk and say they watch the show or listen to the show or want to talk, because, and I said this to one guy, I was at an event last week, and I said this, and he said, do you really like talking to people? I said, yes, because the alternative is nobody cares about your show, and nobody comes and says hello. And nobody gives a flip what you do. So, yes, I will always, always, always be flattered and humbled by people who say they listen and enjoy the show, because you've got a bajillion options, and you can go watch or listen to anything else. And people who seem to like the show, that's awesome. So, yes, I'm sure there will be a day where I'm put out to pasture and nobody cares that I ever did radio or media. But in the meantime, I'll always be grateful. So, why did we talk about that?
Because you had to go speak to that event.
But now, full circle.
Yeah.
So I'm in Donaldsonville at the Rotary meeting or Lions or whatever it was, Kiwanis, and I'm talking. So then you stop and you talk to people, and then one becomes like 1:15, becomes 1:30, and then it's finally like, I don't mean to be rude, but I have got to leave now.
Yeah.
And I came in hot, and I made it.
All right. Well, that's good. I mean, you never.
Moral of the story: schedule your meetings out of town early in the day. Early. Like when I went to Covington to go meet our friends at Evermore. Great business. Loved meeting with them. Loved seeing their facility. I was like, I drop off my son at 9 a.m. I'm leaving or 8:45 actually. I'm leaving straight from there and coming. I'll be at your facility at 10:30. And I'm leaving at no later than noon, so I can make sure I'm back, right? So that's kind of how I approach it.
You made it that day too. I remember that one.
Yeah, I made it that day. Man, have I ever not made it for the start of a show? The closest I ever came, I'll tell you this, and we have just completely yard saled this segment. I'll talk about the Marshawn Lattimore thing next hour or something. But we've yard saled this segment. And I still have to do First South Farm Credit as well. So let me see if I get both these things done. The First South Farm Credit, then I'll tell you here in just 30 seconds the one time I almost missed the start of the show. Love First South Farm Credit, another great local business, been around since 1916, more than 100 years. At First South Farm Credit, they aren't just ag lenders. Yes, you want to buy 1,000 acres for agriculture, you want to buy your tractor, your combine from Sunshine, they can help you finance it. But they have 100 years of experience in the ag industry, so their lenders are ready to make whatever your rural dreams are a reality. It's First South Farm Credit, your first call, your first option. Think first. First South Farm Credit. Go to firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. Okay, real quick. The one time I almost missed the start of the show, and I was doing the show on remote at Santa Maria Golf Course, and I believe it was an Edwin Watts demo day. So shout out to my guy Jeff over at Edwin Watts, been a great supporter of the show for a lot of years. And we used to do shows at times at the Edwin Watts on Sherwood and Baton Rouge, and then when they would do demo day at Santa Maria, we'd do the show out there. And brother, I'm gonna tell you, there was a wreck on I-10 between Seagan and Highland. And if you're not from Baton Rouge, to get to Santa Maria, you exit Highland, you turn by the water park, and it's a little bit down on the left. So. And Seagan is the last exit before Highland coming from downtown. Well, there's a wreck. And, I'm watching the clock go, and I'm like, oh, my God. And it's not just get there, but then I have to get there and I have to set up. Coming in hot, like I drove the ESPN vehicle right up to the driving range. They had like a back way where you could drive. Like if you've ever entered Santa Maria, the neighborhood, you enter and like the entrance to the golf course and the driving range is on your right. Well, there's a gate where you can drive onto the driving range, on the side of the driving range. So I drove up the side of the driving range, straight up to the little shack right there at the driving range. Bat out of hell, flung the door open, plugged in the Comrex, and I think I heard, as I connected, I heard the show open going. That's how close it was. That's literally the closest I ever was to missing or being late for a show. Woo, boy. And Troy LaBeouf just texted me.
He's probably like, hey, you can come back, speak again.
He said, are you ready to come back? Yeah, Troy.
I know Troy.
I'll come back if you move the meeting up an hour. How about that? All right, it's After Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Tigers and the Pros next.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan, injury attorneys. Hey, big shout out. Thanks to Gordon and the G team. Dom McKinley was with us just about 15 minutes ago. And really great young man. And you could tell one of the things that's an underlining commonality with all the members of the G team, all the NIL deals that Gordon does with the athletes, both male and female, they're good young people. Good young people that he wants representing his brand. So, yeah, man, I'm fired up for this one as well. And I think we're going to have a really good opportunity to get this young guy on our team. They just announced today on our team, on the show, Tradez Green from Zachary is the newest member of the G team as well. And look, Tradez, had a chance to talk to him a few months ago. Basketball and football star, wants to do both at LSU, and now a member of the G team as well. So we're excited about that. You know what to do. Get Gordon. Get it done.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any.
What it is. She wants a little farm and a yard full of kids, and one more teeny weeny ride before I take her home. She thinks my tractor's sexy.
After further review powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Muso! Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
Got him. We're ready.
Huge night for Alex Bregman last night. No.
Well, he should have.
No.
Well, he should have.
Hey, I did try his wing sauce at Pluckers this weekend, though.
Oh, what did you think?
It was really good. The Breggy Creole Crush.
I tell
Dude, it
you,
was really
man.
good. I enjoyed that a lot, actually.
The, completely unpaid plug. Bregman's stuff, like the Breggy Bomb stuff, the salsa, the rub, it's really good. He worked with, restaurants in Albuquerque from his hometown, and they helped him, use their stuff in these, local restaurants. And anyway, I'm not surprised at all. I get that you like it. It's really good.
Very, very good. Really unique flavor. Very good. Anyway, Bregman, 3 for 3 last night.
Whoa.
All 3 of them extra base hits.
Kaboom!
2 homers. One of them just an absolute
homers.
shot on a hanging curveball into the Crawford box. And then he just missed a 3-homer night later in the game. Went oppo off the top of the wall in right center field for a 2 RBI double. All in all, 3 for 3, the 2 homers, the double, 4 runs batted in for Bregman last night. And he drew a walk.
Got him.
On base 4 times.
How about that?
Just a great night.
What a night.
For our guy.
Love it.
Aaron Nola. There you go. There you go. You're going to need to get a few of those in here. Today, little matinee ball.
You better
over at
hurry,
Citi
Muse.
Field.
The inning's almost over.
The inning. The highlight of a complete game shut piece for Aaron Nola.
CG shut piece.
was a 85-second three-pitch.
I'm sorry, did you say 85 pitch inning?
No. 85-second.
Oh, 85 seconds.
Three-pitch inning.
3 pitches.
Single, line drive to second, 5-4-3 double play.
Boom.
That's how it happened.
3 pitches.
3 pitches.
Out of there.
85 seconds.
Wow.
9 innings, no runs.
Someone needed a Jay Johnson offensive timeout.
No. Somebody did. No walks, 8 strikeouts, 109 pitches, 73 strikes. 5-2, that Aaron Nola here early in the year. The Phillies are good.
This is bonkers. I'm watching this 85-second inning right now. There was the line out.
It's so good.
Yeah. How about that?
Just get it. I mean, look, Aaron Nola, he's always worked with a good pace.
It was the polar bear who grounded into the double play. Look at this.
Yep.
There he is.
Yep.
Up there, old Petey Alonso. You got anything else, Muse?
I do.
Oh, go ahead. I'll watch this.
Okay.
You do
well, I need your assistance here momentarily. Nas Reed tonight's back on the floor.
Oh, should have stayed.
There you go.
You can go to him, Paul. I'm just watching.
Back on the floor with the Timberwolves facing the Nuggets. Series tied 2-2.
Ground ball, ground to third. There we go.
Series tied 2-2. Road teams won each game in the series so far. Nas.
It was double play.
Averaging, 5-4-3. Averaging 12 and 3 so far in this series.
Should have stayed.
That's Tigers in the pros.
I mean, you realize that he had stayed. He wouldn't have been 6th man of the year. He would have been like all NBA. He wouldn't have averaged 12 and 3. He would have averaged 13 and 4.
Yeah.
Should have stayed.
So you're saying,
what?
Nope.
South Point Volkswagen. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, so you're saying he was the 6th man of the year in the NBA?
Well, he is the 6th man of the year.
But you're like, it's if
he wouldn't have been.
He wouldn't have been.
Well, that was the whole. That's the
I know.
joke. Yeah. You good?
I was playing into it, but it's fine. Just
I don't think you missed.
Anyway, tell the people about South Point.
Yeah, I will. Thanks. I'll host. I'll do the hosting of this show. You sit over there and you do Tigers and the Pros. You mostly do it poorly too.
Hey, easy.
Did we hear about Cloth and Nuss yet?
No, but
what's up with Curtis Thompson? What about? I had to have Kent Lowe remind you about.
Goat.
Yeah, about Madeline
Sagstrom. There you go.
I never know if it's Sandstrom or Sagstrom.
Sagstrom.
Got it. Okay, South Point Volkswagen. They're the GOAT. SouthPointVW.com. New and certified pre-owned 2.9% APR for 60 months right now. My goodness. Check out the Atlas, the Cross Sport. I'm telling you, great German engineering without the cost. Great people. They're the best. SouthPointVW.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? Okay, hour number 3. LSU hosting a transfer DB. Want to talk about him next after SportsCenter.
AFR.
Last night, that weather came through. Power flickered. Generator came on. 1 o'clock in the morning, I was awakened because our AC, sound machine, all that went out. Went totally quiet in the house. Of course, I woke up. About 10, 15 seconds later, boom, power came back on because we have a Generac automatic home standby generator. Everybody wants one. It's not even a matter if you ask someone, hey, would you want an automatic home standby generator? Of course you would. Everybody would. Who wouldn't? Power goes out and then boom, your whole house is powered by a generator. Of course. Well, can you afford it? Where do you get it? The answer is Optimize. They're Louisiana's #1 Generac dealer. All they do, sell, service, and install Generac automatic home standby generators. 4 physical locations across the 1012 corridor. So from Slidell to Lake Charles and anywhere in between, you want the best. You want Optimize. Go to generatorpeople.com. Just remember those 2 words, generatorpeople.com. It's Optimize. Again, generatorpeople.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
He's here. Anyone want a Coors Light?
Oh shoot, I forgot to play the song. I got a guy who can fix this.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The much-anticipated WNBA debut of #1 overall pick Caitlin Clark set for tonight. She and the Indiana Fever visit the Connecticut Sun, 7:30 Eastern, ESPN2. Scoring not likely the theme tonight for Clark. ESPN basketball analyst Monica McNutt.
I said about 10, 12 points, but I'm looking for a handful of assists because she's playing with a former #1 pick and reigning, I should say, Rookie of the Year in Aaliyah Boston. Alyssa Smith is also a #2 pick, incredibly athletic. Erica Wheeler is a veteran in the league. They've got pieces to make plays. They've got some power in the paint.
Bruins captain Brad Marchand, over body injury, won't play in a must-win Game 5 tonight against the Panthers in the second-round Stanley Cup playoff series. Face-off in an hour on ESPN, followed by Oilers-Canucks Game 4. Edmonton down 2-1 with a goalie change, starting Calvin Pickard. Timberwolves center Rudy Gobert fined $75,000 by the NBA for his money sign gesture directed at the officials in Game 4 of that second-round series. Minnesota is at Denver tonight for Game 5, 10 Eastern, ESPN Radio. The home team 0-4 so far.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Make sure your family is well taken care of with life insurance. Protect your phones, laptops, and more with electronic device insurance. And cover your furry friends with pet health insurance.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tumbly. All right. right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. Todd Walker, 15 minutes from right now. We'll talk a little LSU baseball. I will, at the bottom of this hour, get back to the Marshawn Lattimore conversation. Bill Barnwell at ESPN laid out a trade scenario for Marshawn Lattimore. It kind of confirms what I thought, which is not really a great scenario either way for the Saints. We'll get to that coming up at the bottom of this hour. There are reports, Matt Zenitz over at 247 was the first to have it today, that Wesley Walker, a defensive back from Tennessee, has been targeted by LSU in the transfer portal. I'll give you a little bit of backstory on Walker, and then I'll kind of delve into my feeling on how he may fit with LSU, really if they should be targeting him, et cetera. So we'll get to all that. But Matt Zenitz had it first, and so apparently Walker is expected to visit LSU next week. And Zenitz notes that Walker was a starter for Tennessee this past season. So, a couple things. First of all, Walker's been around college football for a long time. He was a member of Georgia Tech's 2019 signing class. So, he's been in college as long as John Emery, for perspective. Redshirted at Georgia Tech in 2019. Played in 2020, but that was the COVID year, so everybody got the year for free, right? So really his first year of eligibility that counted was 2021 at Georgia Tech. Well, in 21, he played in 10 games, starting 8 times, and then transferred to Tennessee, where he played the last 2 seasons. In 2022, played in 13 games with 2 starts, and then this past year, started all 10 games that he played in, then missed the final 2 games there in Rocky Top with an injury. So in total, you've got a guy that over the course of 5 seasons, he'll be entering his 6th season of college football, over the course of 5 seasons has played in 33 games with 20 starts and has been at 3 programs. So started Georgia Tech, been at Tennessee the last 2 years, transferred to Louisville for the spring, and after spring football, hit the portal again. So he's looking for a place to spend his final year of eligibility, and LSU will get a visit next week. There's 2 parts of this. There's the player and how that may fit in, and then there's sort of the circumstance. And let me take those in reverse order. First, the circumstance is interesting because of what Brian Kelly said at the end of spring. I'm going to play this for you. We played this a bunch. This isn't the first time you've heard it, but this is going to provide some more context around why I've continued to say what I've said about this comment in particular.
Brian, as you go into the offseason, like you said, kind of evaluating this roster, other than maybe defensive tackle, other positions that y'all might target in the transfer portal?
I don't see any other positions that we need to be in the transfer portal for other than the defensive tackle position, really.
Remember, that wasn't at the beginning of spring. That was at the end of spring. So you could say, well, Brian Kelly thought they would just look at defensive tackle, but then they went through spring and realized they might need defensive back help. No, that was at the end of spring and said, why? I don't think we'd be in the portal for anything other than defensive tackle help. And the point I've made pretty consistently about that comment is Brian Kelly didn't need to paint himself into a box. You know, and Brian's very good with the media. I mean, the guy was a political strategist. Usually he's very good in those situations. But in my opinion, a big part of the reason there was such a melt over not getting Dominick Williams and Simeon Barrow and then C.J. West and the way everyone's felt about this is because of that comment in particular. Because that comment made it seem like you're good everywhere else, like you're confident with everybody else, but D-line, D-tackle is a problem. We got to go get one, right? And because they emphasized it so much, not getting one made it feel like, oh my God, the defense is screwed, which I don't think that's the case. I'm going to get to more of that here in a second. But the other part of that is to say, well, at the end of spring, you weren't in the market for anything but a defensive tackle. Then why now are you in the mix for Wesley Walker? And I understand there's a family tie. One of the edge rushers in the portal right now, he and Walker are stepbrothers, and so maybe that's a tie where it's a 2-for-1 type deal. We'll say I don't know. I don't know anything about Wesley Walker, his family, or if any of that might be tied in. And I'm really not even concerned about it. If he commits to LSU and ultimately joins the football program, I'll care much more deeply about it. But there was just no sense in painting yourself into the corner, because now it begs the question, well, you didn't need a DB at the end of spring, but now you're going after one? Why? And then number two, it created unnecessary urgency around defensive tackle. Now, the player himself, this is the other part of that conversation. This is a guy with a ton of experience, okay? I just went through it. 33 games played with 20 games started over the course of 5 collegiate seasons. He didn't really play until his third year in college, the 21 season at Georgia Tech. He redshirted in 19, 20 was the COVID season, and 21 is when he really started playing at Georgia Tech. If you're just looking for a comp, Major Burns, for example. Major Burns has played in 27 games with 23 starts. So Walker has played in 6 more games than Major Burns. Sage Ryan, who's been a guy that's played a ton the last 2 years, 31 games played with 12 starts. Guys played in 2 more games than Sage Ryan with 8 more starts. So even your most experienced veteran defensive backs, this guy has more experience and at the Power 5 level, and a starter last year in the SEC at Tennessee, where he had 53 tackles, a forced fumble, and a sack. He's been a productive starting safety in the SEC. So I could say that's a better option than what you have currently. And that might be the case. But it's comparable to what you have with Burns and Ryan. And you've brought in Jordan Gilbert as well, who we're all assuming is a plug-and-play starter. I mean, what we saw in the spring was Gilbert and Ryan were your safeties, and Major Burns played that star position. Now, I'm never going to tell you, I will never tell you that experience, talented experience and depth is a bad thing. I'm not going to tell you that bringing in Wesley Walker, if he wants to come to LSU, with his 33 career games played, his 20 career games started, including starting 10 games last year at Tennessee, I'm not going to tell you that's a bad thing, because you can add talent to depth. Great. My question is why? If at the end of spring practice you didn't need a defensive back, it's not like an All-American hit the portal and you have an opportunity to add a transcendent type player. This is where it comes down to, is it really worth adding a player instead of developing the players you have? Because there's a lot of young guys. Kylan Jackson immediately comes to mind from Zachary. Really talented young player that I know this staff is high on, his athleticism, his ability, that I think has a huge upside. Deshaun McBride from Denham Springs was taking reps with the ones in spring. Now, I could ask the question. You got a 5-star, high 4-star, 5-star, depending on the service, freshman, or a guy that's played in 33 games with 20 career starts going into his 6th season? Who would you rather? I don't know that I can definitively answer that question. There's an unknown with Deshaun McBride, but I think it's also fair to say his ceiling is much higher than what you have with Walker. But with Walker, you have a veteran player. Again, I'm not telling you it's a bad thing if you add a veteran player, but you don't need a safety. You got safeties. You've got experienced safeties. You got talented safeties. You got guys that look just like Wesley Walker. Guys that have played a lot in the SEC, got some talent. You want to add depth, okay. But if you tell me where do you need talented, experienced depth, it's at cornerback. I mean, J.K. Johnson's healthy now, but we ain't seen him start. Zy Alexander's coming off a torn ACL. Jair Brown was kind of like a part-time starter play, but hasn't been like a consistent starter in his college career yet. We saw Stamps and Toviano play last year as freshmen. They took their lumps. If you tell me that LSU's recruiting a guy with 20 SEC starts at cornerback, now you got my attention. Because that's something you don't have on this team. You got Wesley Walker on this team. You want to add depth? Great. I'm all for it. Add experience, quality, depth. Great. I'm for it. I'm not saying don't take him. I'm just saying I don't think you need him. And I don't think you need a body at defensive tackle, which is a course I'm going to continue to reiterate. If you can add a starter, a proven starter at defensive tackle, great. Otherwise, stick with a handful of 5th and 6th year dudes you got on that roster that have been waiting their turn behind NFL guys like Mason Smith and Jordan Jefferson and Mekhi Wingo. Coach them up and see how they play. we'll keep you posted. Wesley Walker set, apparently, according to Matt Zenitz, 247 to visit LSU next week. We'll let you know when he does and how it goes. Okay, y'all, it's after further review. Man, I love telling you about Supper Club. Of course, you want to book your reservation, supperclubbtr.com. Of course, it's Tuesday. Supper Club is back open. You're heading home. You don't want to go home? Go to Supper Club. Matt, I can't go to Supper Club. I don't have a reservation. I don't have a coat, sport coat. Doesn't matter. Remember, they opened up bar seating about a month ago, really when we started talking about Supper Club, for the first time. So without a reservation, you can go into Supper Club, sit at the bar, have a great premium cocktail. There, trust me, I know whiskey. Their whiskey selection will rival any in this town. Creative cocktails as well, glass of wine, an exemplary wine list. I mean, everything from all the popular ones you'll find. If you want your Silver Oak, your Camus, if you want a $5,000 bottle of Chateau Lafite Rothschild, they got that as well. And everything in between. It's Supper Club. Get your reservation at supperclubbtr.com. Remember, this Friday, Saturday, for graduation, they're opening reservations at 3 o'clock. So they're opening reservations early this Friday, Saturday for graduation. So if you want to celebrate your grad, go where everybody goes to celebrate. Go to Supper Club, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. And remember, collared shirt, the stated dress code, collared shirt, slacks, nice jeans, just no T-shirts, no hats, no jeans with holes in them, no open-toe shoes. You want to throw in the sport coat, dress to the nines, by all means, go have yourself a night. But you knock off of work, you want to go to Supper Club, have yourself a glass of wine, cocktail, close some business, you can do it at Supper Club. Supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. All right, it's after further review. Todd Walker joins us to talk a little LSU baseball when we come back. And I do want to get at the bottom of this hour, that Marshawn Lattimore conversation. Bill Barnwell proposed a trade that would send Marshawn Lattimore to an AFC contender. I want to tell you what I think about it. I'll get your opinions as well when we roll on here on a Tuesday edition of AFR.
AFR.
Man, we might need another trip to Clegg's, as a matter of fact. That weather came through last night. My goodness. We were looking out on the back patio, all the beautiful flowers that we planted just 2 weekends ago. Erica's Mother's Day present. We saw them all get really just tossed around by that wind. But I tell you go check out Clegg's Facebook page, and I always encourage you to do this. I mean, it is just an absolute sea, an oasis of color and flowers and styles and just beauty. Get by any of the 4 Clegg's nursery locations. I mean, they still have shipments of fresh flowers arriving every day. So if you want to get out into your garden, you want to add a pop of color to those patio plants or those patio pots, you can do it. Clegg's Nursery can help. If you have no idea where to start, no worries. Take a picture of your outdoor space. Go ask someone in a blue Clegg's Nursery shirt for help. They'll tell you exactly what plants, what flowers would thrive based on the shade and all that stuff. You know where to go. It's Clegg's Nursery.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal.
She's the only one who really understands what gets me. She thinks my tractor's sexy.
After further review powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, LSU baseball, no midweek game. Just getting ready for a Thursday, Friday, Saturday weekend series with Ole Miss coming in, and LSU's got everything on the line. Our buddy Todd Walker, SEC Network, good enough to join us now. T-Dub, how are you, man?
Great, Matt. What's happening?
Man, just looking forward to this weekend, hoping the Tigers can get it done, man. I would love to know your thoughts watching that game on Friday where LSU let it get away. You're watching that unfold and transpire. What are you thinking as you're watching that?
You would hate for them to only have the 12 wins and go into the SEC tournament in that single elimination day and lose, and then be out of the field of 64 and look back on that Friday night game against Alabama and wonder, and there's a few of those this year, shoot, if only we would have won that, but clearly that was a tough play at the end there, but it easily could have been a tapper where Milazzo only had to take one step instead of five, and it just kind of doesn't seem to go LSU's way when they need it in the worst moment.
I mean, the two games that we've talked about were game 2 against Florida. You had a strikeout, and then a wild pitch got away, extended that inning, allowed a run to score when you had that game firmly in hand, and then obviously Friday night against Alabama.
Yeah, and Arkansas in extra innings, Braswell kicks the ball in the 10th.
Yeah, oh my goodness. I mean, T-Dub, normally over the course of a season, this has been my point, like when you have a large enough sample size, 56 games, 30 SEC games, normally those even out, right? You let one get away, but then you steal one somewhere. LSU hasn't stolen one this year, which is just hard to explain. Like, can you put your finger on that with this team?
A big part of that, Matt, is the fact that they won the national championship, and some would argue. Now, look, this is the part we don't remember, and people don't like to admit. There's a lot of luck involved. They won that first game against Florida by 1 run. They hit the extra inning home run against Wake Forest in Omaha, and then the staff did what their talent level said they should do, even though they hadn't done much of it all year. So there is a luck factor, and when you do that and you get it, the next year, I feel like it's a weird explanation for why these national champions have a tough time the next year. But I feel like people don't like to talk about the baseball gods, but I think there's a part of it that you just don't get the break. And I think that's a good observation with LSU. They just have not lucked into anything this year. Now, we're not going to rely on that to try to get into the field of 64, and I know Jay doesn't want to do that. But you're right. I mean, they haven't won a game 3 of a series yet, except for Missouri, and that's a rough stat. And but that's not luck. That's just talent. And they've got a little bit of look. They found Christian Little now. It looks like they found Ashton Larson. So they're starting to get a few more pieces come together here, and if they can find a few more, I can see a scenario where they get in the field of 64 and make a run.
Do you think they have to sweep this weekend?
No. But again, Matt, they need to win that first game of the tournament. If they go into the tournament with only the 12 wins, which means they would have won 2 or 3 against Ole Miss, which, by the way, Ole Miss is playing as good as which isn't saying much, but they're playing better now. They beat Texas A&M last week 2 out of 3. So they're not going to be a rollover like everybody thought they would. If they win 2 out of 3 there, they got 12 wins. They go in the SEC tournament, they lose that single elimination, I don't think there's a scenario. I don't think they can get in.
Agreed.
If they get to 13 wins and they lose that first day, it would be hard for the committee to leave them out. But it's still going to be a committee of human beings that have to make that call. And I think they've got a lot of SEC teams stacked in front of them. So LSU and Ole Miss are fighting for the same thing. LSU has one more win than they do. But they'd be one of those teams would be the 11th SEC school in if one of them made a run. And that's tough. That's they usually let 10 in, but 11, you're going to have to give them a real reason.
Todd Walker's with us. How do you think LSU and Ole Miss match up?
LSU's better on the mound. I think LSU's better offensively, and LSU's certainly better defensively. Ole Miss is worse in the league. So in the three major categories, on paper, at home in Baton Rouge, it looks like they should at least win the series. But they definitely, on paper, have the advantage. But, of course, we all know you got to go out there and play.
I want to go back to someone you mentioned, which was Ashton Larson. I mean, you had the greatest freshman season of anyone in the history of the program. He had 400 as a freshman. Larson hasn't done that, but he's been pretty exceptional with the opportunity that he's given the opportunity around mid SEC play, and he's taken it and absolutely run with it. Why do you think Ashton Larson has been able to have so much success as a freshman?
He's got a great approach. I mean, I think he's second on the team in all base percentage. That's pretty tough to do as a young kid. And not getting the nod early in the season. Like, he had to sit and wait. And so I think the approach is good. He'll use the entire field. He battles lefties well. We saw that in the A&M series, got a key base hit. And I think he gained a lot of confidence. Like, see, Paxton Kling, it's taken him a long time. Kid's talented, but it's just taken him a long time to get that confidence level where Ashton Larson kind of grabbed it pretty quick. And that's a makeup of the kid that you don't really know about until they go out and get it done.
If you flip it over to the mound, Todd, we know they've really kind of found their 1-2 with Jump Holman. The approach when they've been able to on Sunday has been to run Nate Ackenhausen out there and then figure it out, piece it out behind him. What do you think they should do if you were calling the shots on Sunday?
They've tried a lot, haven't
Yeah.
they? So, I mean, they're trying to figure it out. Look, I mean, Ackenhausen seems like the logical choice, although he got hurt a little bit a few weeks ago, and I don't know where the hell's at. But he seems like the most likely choice if they just roll him out and let him pitch in that third day. The format's going to change a little bit, though, as you know. I mean, with the regional, if they're lucky enough to get in, and then the SEC tournament, let's start with that. Next week, I mean, I think Jay's going to go, all hands on deck in the first day because they need to win that first game. Then you get in the double elimination bracket, and then you got a whole, lot of options to throw a lot of guys. And then the regional's different. So the 2 out of 3 game series doesn't happen again until the supers. And so you're going to need a lot of arms, not just a third starter. But Ackenhausen seems like the likely guy. I don't know what happened to Cam Johnson because he looked pretty good in the fall, and he's just off the map. But Nate Yeske has a way of putting these staffs together late in the season. We saw what A&M did in the SEC tournament last year with Nate Yeske as a pitching coach. We saw what Oregon State did in 2018 late in the season. The pitching staff was phenomenal. And so in his first year, even though kids probably can't relate or obviously not applying what Nate Yeske's telling them to do, somehow at the end of the season, they starts to piece it together. And we're seeing that with Christian Little. And if they can just get 1 or 2 more pieces, but I don't know the answer to the third starter because they've tried everybody and nobody seems to take advantage of that role.
What's up with Thatcher Hurd? I mean, Todd, I think that's probably the biggest hole on this team is you started the season with Hurd as your Friday guy, and he didn't even pitch this week. I mean, he's not even throwing for you on SEC weekends.
Yeah. Well, the idea that you just said that they wanted him to be the Friday night guy, and by the way, when he came in from UCLA last year, remember he was slated to be the ace last year.
Yeah.
And they thought he would be. Without being right in front of him, we talked about him last night, and if you're in the box, you can kind of see why these guys struggle, even though they throw 93, 94 miles an hour. I think with Thatcher Hurd, without again facing him, there's a show that you see him earlier than you do most other guys. The fastball is fairly straight. The slider is right to left. It's not bite. It's just right to left. And ultimately, I think, Thatcher's trying to hit corners, and without a lot of experience, a lot of time being out there, he hadn't been able to do it. So he's dancing around the zone, gets behind hitters, has to throw that flat fastball. He gets beat up. But he's a talented kid. I mean, we saw at times last year what he was able to do. I remember the Georgia series last year where they gave up the home run, a big home run, and Jay left him out there, and he battled through it, and that was impressive. So he's got to find it, right? I mean, that's a guy that you look to that can help you down the road, and he did that last year. But the talent level's there. I think, you got to be able to pitch to contact if you're him and not dance around the zone and challenge guys.
How much – I mean, I think, 3 pitching coaches in 3 years is tough for anybody. How much of the struggles on the mound this year do you lay at the feet of Nate Yeskie? How much of it is circumstance? How much of it is execution? How do you sift through all that?
I think that nowadays, kids are more in their own programs than they were 20, 30 years ago. Like Bertman ran every pitch of every pitcher of every situation, including their conditioning and everything else. Now, kids have their own programs, so I'm not – with the analytics and everything else, Nate Yeskie's as good as it gets. And so I think there's an element of that you hope kids honor that and kind of listen. And I've always said kids listen, but the application process gets lost sometimes. They can't apply and we know as having kids, that's a real thing. But I think in 1 year it's very difficult to make. And by the way, he's dealing with all these personalities. How many pitchers they got on that staff? I mean, for him to have to deal with. Some deal well with criticism, some don't. And Nate's got to figure all that out. Again, Cam Johnson's a great example. I mean, we know that he was the second best lefty in the country. The first lefty in the country got drafted in the first round. That's how talented Cam Johnson is. He's got a 12. So, why does that happen? I mean, it's there's a lot of psychology to it, and I think Nate's trying to sift through it. But it's communicating with these kids, and they do it in different ways. So, I don't know what to tell you other than there's a big portion of that has to come from the kid himself. Like, I didn't get a whole lot of hitting coaching when I got there. A lot of it had to come from me, which was, I'm not striking out. You're not striking me out. I don't care. And I got in the box, and that's what I did. And I put the ball in play, ended up popping a homer in the fall, and I became the starter. But nobody said, don't strike out. I had to do that myself. So there's a big part of this that the kids have to do, and whether or not, obviously they're not doing it.
If I asked you, last thing, appreciate your time as always, man. Take the LSU fan out of it. If I asked you, you think this team earns a regional berth, what do you say?
Yep, I think here's how it's going to play. I think they win 2 or 3 against Ole Miss, and I think they win day 1 of the SEC tournament, gets them into the double elimination. And even if they lose 2 after that, that gives them the hypothetical 13 wins. And, again, remember, this committee's a bunch of just people sitting around a deal going, should we let LSU in? And the answer has to be yes, because of the fanfare and the money and everything else that LSU brings, especially being the defending national champion. But they got to give them a reason to do that. And I think that 13-win mark is the reason. So that's how I see it playing out. And they might be better. They may make A&M last year went all the way to the final against Vanderbilt. They were 14-16 in the league last year. And Nate Yeskie was part of that pitching. He was the pitching coach. So he's seen it firsthand. And I think you can see a scenario where LSU could do that again.
Yeah, the radio show host to me is just aching for this team to play as deep into June as they possibly can.
No doubt.
Need the content, brother. Todd Walker, one of the best, man. We always appreciate a couple minutes. Thank you.
All right, man. Anytime. Thank you.
Be well. It's Todd Walker. It's After Further Review, brought to you by Parrish Construction and Roofing. Terrio and I made the announcement here on Friday. Our new venture. The same group of people that have been telling you for 3.5 years, do business with someone you know. Same group of people just started a new company. It's Terrio, it's Richard Tilley, it's Joe Morales, it's me, it's our whole crew. All the way down to our crews that will show up to your house and tear your roof off and put your new roof on, or perform your roof repair, whatever it may be. Parrish Construction and Roofing. Hey, look, we had awful weather blow through the area, all across South Louisiana. There were tornadoes, and it was awful to see a lot of the damage and destruction. Thankfully, what you pray for is the minimal or no loss of life. But look, as you start to assess high wind, heavy rain, hail, tornadoes, and spots, if you had or think you might have had roof damage, we can always give you a free, no-obligation roofing inspection. Just go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. advertiser.com, or give us a call. It's the exact same phone number I've given you for 3.5 years, 364-1007, 364-1007, 225-364-1007. It'll ring to our office. If no one at the office picks up, it'll ring through to cell phones. You might get Terrio. But listen, if you had shingles knocked off your roof, if you go look at the bottom of your downspout, you see some granules there. It might be a good indication you had roof damage. If you had hail, you had branches or debris fall on your roof, that could be an indicator of roof damage. We'll come out. We'll inspect your roof. We'll do a full roof inspection report. If it warrants, we'll file a claim with your insurance company. We'll meet the adjuster. We'll handle everything from that first phone call all the way to the completion of the roof. Do business with someone you know. It's Parrish Construction and Roofing. Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com. ParrishBuilt.com. All right, y'all. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Thanks to Todd. Billy Embody was here in hour one, pinch hitting for Shea Dixon. We had Wilson Alexander has a really good feature piece up on LSU's NIL structure right now. If you missed that, it was in hour two. We talked to LSU five-star signee Dominic McKinley. He was here. Interesting if you missed it. Dominic McKinley told us he started his senior year at 280. Today, he's 315. Now, he wants to play at 300, so he's heavier now than he wants to be. But, I mean, if you're talking about being a day, he said his goal is he wants to be a starter. So if you're trying to be a day one starter, and there's a spot open next to Jacoby and Guillory, you want to be a day one starter, you got to be big enough to do it. And, if he gets that, lose that 15 pounds, gets down to 300, gets to a really healthy weight and level, who knows? Could be. But good convo with Dominic McKinley last hour. You just heard Todd Walker. So everything, if you missed it, AFR On Demand presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time at golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. Okay, we're not gonna break. Come back. We got Otter Locks coming up here in about 15 minutes, and I do want to get to this story about Marshawn Lattimore. Bill Barnwell at ESPN proposed a Marshawn Lattimore trade, sending him to an AFC contender. We'll knock it around next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel. Two amazing hotel properties, Watermark Downtown, Renaissance, Southtown as they call it, right there on Bluebonnet, across the street from the mall and Perkins Row. You can't miss it. It's just right in there in that South Baton Rouge, Southtown as they call it. It's a gorgeous property. Tallulah inside of the Renaissance Hotel, great place to have a meal, a cocktail after work, great way to spend a weekend evening. If you got family coming in from out of town, they need a place to stay. Right there, close proximity to I-10 at Bluebonnet, close to everything you can get anywhere. Make sure you tell them about the Renaissance Hotel. And maybe most importantly, you got an event coming up, make sure you call my friend Allison Crump over at the Renaissance Hotel. As she always tells me, hey, we're in the business of saying yes. And they have so much space there, from boardrooms to host 12 people to their grand ballroom. They can host 500 people. If it's wedding receptions or fundraisers or award banquets, they can do it all at the Renaissance Hotel. So check them out today or give them a call at the Renaissance Hotel.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for
After further review powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Corey sent me a message and said, country music cringe, worst take ever. LOL. I don't like country music. I think country music is a cringe genre. I think it's twangy and gratuitous in that nature, and I think lyrically it's the simplicity of the lyrics are actually awful. I hate country music. You disagree, I think, yeah?
No, I absolutely disagree. I love country music.
Country music is atrocious.
That's
in my office, I share a wall with the program director of the country music station in this building, who is a friend and like a lot, but it's nothing personal. I hate country music. It's atrocious.
Do you just hate like songs that are like you
All
said but not all of them are the same type of stuff. There's some really good.
There's not a single country music artist I could tell you I love. Let me take that back. I think Garth had some stuff that went mainstream in the 90s. That was pretty good.
Yes.
I'd give you that one.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. I mean, well, Garth's really popular. He's awesome. So
he's also mainstream.
Yes.
He's a crossover artist. And I'm not counting guys that are more Southern rock. Like I think Stapleton isn't country. Stapleton is Southern rock.
He's so good, too.
In the same way that Skinnerd is Southern rock. Like, that's not country music. Anyway, that's all. Just an opinion. Just an opinion.
Yeah, I
like Godsmack. There's probably a lot of people listening right now that would hear that and say, oh, this is atrocious. It's just guys yelling. It's just a vibe. It's
solid
what it is.
Dad rock is what that is.
Godsmack?
Yes.
That
is dad rock, 100%. It's not a bad thing, but yeah, 100%.
Child, go sit in the corner. Go to timeout. Dad rock.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, I was listening to Godsmack in the mid '90s.
Yes, but now that's what I mean. Like
talking about?
Because that now the people who loved that, a lot of them are fathers, and it is gained the connotation of dad rock. That's all that is. It's not a
drop realign today. Having nobody ever heard that song ever, drop it today. Certified banger, 100%.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing. I was telling you
like
where.
You're disagreeing?
No, I'm telling you where. You looked at me like, what the hell you mean dad rock? I'm telling you why it's called that right now.
Dad rock.
You listened to it then. You still listen to it now. You're a father. Makes a lot of sense.
So anything that a parent, that someone who has children listens to. So like if I listen to Beyonce, is that dad pop?
No.
Well, based on the criteria you just laid out, is that I listen to it and I'm a dad, therefore it's dad rock.
But,
so Beyonce, therefore, has to be dad pop.
I mean, I guess it could be.
Because I listened to Beyonce 20 years ago. I still like her music, so therefore it's dad pop.
I guess it could be nobody uses that term, though. People actually use the term dad rock. But I mean, by the logic, sure. Just you'd be the only person who uses that.
The term has a negative connotation.
Oh, I don't think so, but okay.
Why do you think I reacted the way I did? The first time I've heard it, that has a negative connotation. And when I would think of that, I would think like dad rock would be like crusty or dusty or old people music.
Oh, no. See, no.
Like that's the connotation when you say dad rock. Like, that's what your dad would listen to with his short sleeve button up polo tucked into his khakis.
What a good look with the New Balance.
Oh God.
what a good look.
It's not where I was expecting that to go. A good look. Oh, Muse. Don't wear that on your date.
Like crew socks.
Don't wear that on your date with the future Mrs. Matthew Musso.
But no.
Do we have an update yet on the date? I was supposed to talk. This is the second time.
Yeah, we're
By the way,
tailing the segment again.
The second time I was supposed to talk about this Marshawn Lattimore proposed trade, and for the second time I'm yard sailing the segment, and I have a feeling we're not going to get to it. And I still have to tell people about the Williamson Eye Center in this segment as well.
There's always.
No, go ahead. No, please finish your thought.
Well, I was just going to say there's always tomorrow for that. But I looked up the definition of dad rock.
Okay.
Rock music that appeals to an older generation or that is heavily influenced by that of an earlier era. Excuse me.
My point is appeals to an older generation. That's the part I'll push back against, because younger people would listen to that and still enjoy it in the same way that bands like Nirvana are having a resurgence right now with younger people who are finding it for the first time. In the same way that when I was a kid and the first time I heard Zeppelin and Skynyrd, and I was hearing rock music from the 70s, the 60s and the 70s, Hendrix, like a lot of that stuff, it really appealed to me. My dad listened to it. Didn't mean it was dad rock. It only appealed to older people. I would think of that in terms of, I would think of dad, I'm trying to think of a band that would make sense. Do you know one that off the top of your head makes sense?
Well, I mean, you didn't like mine.
Godsmack does not apply.
I was like, that kind of makes sense to me because it's, what's that, 90s and early 2000s there in their heyday, right? I mean,
yes.
So.
But again, the point being, if it, by that definition, you're saying it appeals to older people, that in the deduction is that it wouldn't appeal to younger people. And my point is that I believe very much that would appeal to younger people when they're exposed to it for the first time, in the same way that when I was young and I heard Stairway and, Live and Love and Made and like Zeppelin, I'm like, oh my God, this is freaking amazing. I'm not saying Godsmack is Zeppelin or on that level, but what I'm saying is there would be a cross-generational appeal of that band.
For sure. And I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying I think it obviously would appeal more to your generation. That's it. Like that's all I'm getting at. So I'm not saying it can't.
Well, that would be a logical explanation for any music based on the era. And the reason is because music has an intrinsically emotional attachment to it.
Fair.
Music is sort of like the soundtrack of our life. Mm-hmm. If I say a song, you're probably immediately going to be transported to a time and place where you were listening to that song and you become nostalgic about it. Hanging out with friends in high school or going to a ball game with your dad or whatever the case may be. Like, we have those attachments. Like, I love Jimmy Buffett and I have great memories as a kid. My dad listened to Jimmy Buffett a lot. And so when I think of Jimmy Buffett, I think of like our beach trips to Gulf Shores when we were kids, listening to songs by heart the entire vacation. You know what I mean? Like, so I have that emotional attachment to Buffett because of that. And I think most people are like that. You hear a song, reminds you of someone you dated or whatever. And it's like, that's the point of music. So yes, of course, anything that was in my era that I came up with, I'm going to have that attachment to an affinity for it because it'll bring me back to that place. But again, we have gone again way on a tangent, and I got to get to Otter Locks, and I got to remind people about the Williamson Eye Center. By the way, Jimmy Ott, also Williamson Eye Center patient. But my point is, when music transcends era, here's how I would say it. Dad rock would be something, in my mind, that doesn't transcend the era. It would only appeal to the people who heard it in their era. music that transcends its era, I could not be labeled as dad rock because you're putting it in a box that only a certain demographic would listen to it. That's where I don't think Godsmack fits into the dad rock. I'm going to think of a band that would fit. Let me think of a band that would qualify, that young people today would find grotesque. I'll give you an example for me. I like 80s rock. I despise hair bands.
You've said that before.
Despise hair bands. And I understand the era that it came through, and then the counterculture was grunge as sort of a protest of the hair bands, and that's when I grew up and I love. So I understand people that grew up in the 80s, why you love hair bands. It's what you grew up with. But my point is, I don't think if you go play Def Leppard and like some 80s hair bands for 12, 13, 14-year-olds today, I don't think they're going to be like, oh, sick. You know what I mean? I think that was it's a weird, something from my era. Like in the 90s. 90s got really weird with like fluorescent colors and stylistically really weird stuff that should never, ever happen again. Like big logos. Like the Toronto's Raptor logo was huge. The Spurs had like this neon green and pink on their uniforms. Like that stuff should be buried and never brought back. So there are things from every era that are good and things from every era that are bad. That's all. We are so late. All right, go to break.
AFR.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Oshner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Oshner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Shout out to Matt French. Creed, Nickelback, Dad Rock, not Godsmack. Take that, Matthew Gerard Musso. All right, let's get to Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
Muse, I'll save the Marshawn Lattimore topic. I'm just going to put it right here in my folder.
Yeah, we'll just.
I'm certain we'll
Circle
get
back
to it
to that
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
I'm certain we'll get to it tomorrow. Otter, sorry, man. We got on a tangent about Dad Rock, and now we're late. Sorry. What's up?
Gotcha. We got a full plate tonight.
Let's go.
All right. I don't know if you've heard Caitlin Clark starting her professional career tonight. A lot of people are excited. So are we, to fade all of the public action. So we are taking, first of all, UConn Sun minus the 7.5 in the game tonight.
Are they really the UConn Sun, or are they just the Connecticut?
We got a lot on the plate.
Okay.
UConn Sun minus 7.5 for that straight play. Cross-sport parlay. Bruins, Boston Bruins face elimination. They've been smashed the last 3 games. Florida Panthers, their captain is out tonight. They're down in Florida. Florida should take care of them. UConn Sun money line, Florida Panthers money line, and the Astros. Astros had a disadvantaged pitching matchup.
1 minute remaining.
I'm tired of looking up at the A's in the standings. Astros, UConn Sun, Florida Panthers, cross-sport parlay, paying about 2-1.
Plus 193.
Okay. St. Louis, Sonny Gray. He threw up on himself last time we had it. We're back on him tonight. Minus 140 at Anaheim. So you got the money line there. And then under 20.5, Indiana Fever wins, minus 125. No to make the playoffs against the Indiana Fever, plus 175. So you got 30 minutes to fade Caitlin Clark mania every which way but under.
Where are you tomorrow, Otter?
The original walk-on, the Burbank.
Otter hates Caitlin Clark.
We love her.
Put it on Twitter. Thank you, Otter. Muse, Paulie, thanks. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3. It's what
AFR.
Brought to you by Evermore. Take some Evermore and throw it on Otter to put out those flames. Evermore, natural artesian water. It is a rare alkaline source. Everybody knows the importance of alkalinity. pH of 8.8 to 9.1. It is a fresh, smooth taste, perfected by Mother Nature. You can read the bottle and it tells you the story. This is thousands of years in the making, slowly filtering through an ancient underground aquifer. I know it sounds like some made-up story, but you go to their facility right there in Covington. As you drive up, you see the well to the left. It's a natural artesian well. They pipe down into the well. They pull the water out. It never touches air until you uncap this bottle. There's nothing added, nothing taken away. It is Evermore. EVAMOR. Get it at great local retailers or online at evermore.com. Evermore.com. Drink a healthier option. Drink Evermore.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.